is 7-0. The series is in the playoffs. The series is tied 2-2. Jack Michaels ready to go. Game 5, Stanley Cup final action at Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network when we return.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing, taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's two things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon scoring in Ledoux. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Unbelievable! Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Canadians rely on technology to connect, educate, and protect us. The ability to power innovation will underpin global prosperity. We must seize this opportunity and build large-scale data centers that power world-changing innovation driven by AI. Data centers create jobs, attract global investment, and ensure we control our digital security, keeping us Canada strong. Our success is backed by our nation's energy resources and expertise. We need to boldly tap into Alberta's energy advantage. Learn more at capitalpower.com.
The same AI-powered technology that helps Oilers fans move through security efficiently at Rogers Place is also available for Edmonton area schools, hospitals, and workplaces. Evolve Technology, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers and official security screening partner of Rogers Place, helps identify potential threats and create safe experiences at hockey games and wherever people gather. Visit Rogers Place to experience Evolve live or check out evolve.com for more information. That's EVOLV.com.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing, taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's two things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we sing the true North song and free.
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid. Centers Kane for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
Well, if you've ever had 1 ounce of even a glimmer of affection for pro hockey, there's no place you'd rather be than inside Rogers Place. And among the 18,347 crammed into this 9-year-old facility to see Game 5 of what has been the most compelling Stanley Cup final in years. The Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers from our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, we're ready to go. Alongside Bob Stauffer with Bryn Griffiths and Rob Brown immediately behind me, I'm Jack Michaels. Connor McDavid will take the opening faceoff opposite Sam Bennett. He'll be flanked by Nugent Hopkins and Brown defensively, Bouchard and Kulak. And in net, Calvin Pickard making the start. He's 7-0. His position, Sergei Bobrovsky. We're underway. McDavid wins the opening faceoff, and the Oilers pour into the offensive zone, left to right. They're in the blue and orange, outlined in white. Here come the Florida Panthers back the other way. A backhander short side by Evan Rodriguez, who starts on the line with Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk, who's coming off his best game of the series. 2 power play goals and an assist. Bennett thought he was chopped down. The Oilers break out. Connor Brown, partial break, shoots, and a glove save made by Sergei Bobrovsky. Bennett still peeved about the non-call. Our referees tonight, Wes McCauley and Francis Sharon, linesmen Scott Cherry and Trent Knorr. And I didn't even have time to tell you that the Oilers starting line brought to you by our friends at Coventry Homes, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers. Bob, like the rest of the series, an explosive start tonight with Connor Brown being denied by Bobrovsky off the rush.
Tried to beat him high glove, but if he goes low stick side, he gets a rebound, and a driving Oiler player, Brian Nugent-Hopkins, would have put the puck in the net. What a chance for Edmonton early.
Here's Ekholm up the right-hand side for Vasily Podkolzin, who tied the game on Thursday night as Florida blew a 3-0 lead, and Sergei Bobrovsky being serenaded. He is 14-7 in the playoffs this year, 9 wins on the road. He wins tonight. He ties an NHL record in that department. Wristed down deep by Gustav Forsling. It's a reset for Edmonton, operating left to right in this first period. Wallman up to Perry, and a pass deflected near the Florida bench, but not into it. Shoveled in by Podkolzin, and once again retrieved and cleared by Nate Schmidt up to center. Anton Lundell will bang it in for the Florida Panthers. Lundell, when he's been on the ice 5-on-5 in the postseason, his team has outscored the opposition 20-6. Brad Marchand had a quiet, by comparison, game 4 as Florida relinquished a 3-0 lead, and Edmonton prevailed 5-4 in overtime. Trent Frederick, who sent one off the post at OT up to Troy Stetcher. He'll dump it in, but that's going to be an icing call. Stetcher thought he was tripped. He played just one 14-second shift after turning it over on a play where Carter Verhaeghe finished him against the boards and may have clipped him in the visor with a high stick on a follow-through. Florida went up 3-0. Pickard came in, Bob, and as he's done all season, he delivered when the money was on the line.
He settled his team down is what he did, Jack.
Third goaltender in the last 50 years to win a game in relief in the Stanley Cup final. The others, Andre Vasilevsky 10 years ago, and the immortal Frank Pietrangelo in 1991 against the Minnesota North Stars, a victory that I was most happy with. Here's Mikkola and Jones trading the puck in their zone for Florida. Carter Verhaeghe bumped it up the middle. Florida was in this identical position 2 rounds ago against Toronto and beat the Leafs on the road in games 5 and 7 decisively. Panthers pick up a loose puck. It's Jonah Gadjevich to Verhaeghe, centering pass. One-timed on net by Jones, and a blocker save made by Calvin Pickard. Rebound, Connor Brown up to McDavid. 2-on-1 with Nugent-Hopkins. McDavid, a shot redirected, and then he couldn't bang it in short side, looking for his first goal of the series. Connor McDavid has never gone an entire playoff series without scoring at least 1 goal. He came into this one with 6 assists through the first 4 games and a -2 rating.
The Oilers with 2 odd man breaks here, Jack, in the first 250 of this game.
Kulak up the left-hand side. Arvidsson back in the lineup for Kasperi Kapanen. That was the one change that Edmonton makes, beyond, of course, the obvious Calvin Pickard starting for Stuart Skinner. Last team to win a Stanley Cup and start 2 different goaltenders in the final, Bob. You may remember them. The 1984 Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Lead pass up the left-hand side.
Grant Fuhr got hurt, got run over, and Andy Moog had to come in and clean up the series.
Games 4 and 5. The Penguins, when they won in 2017, now they were the last team with 2 guys to win 7, but Murray started all the games in the final.
Right.
Here's a chip up the right-hand side, deflected out of play into the Oiler bench. We played 3.5. Edmonton, Florida, no score. I mean, Bob, you haven't had a chance to express your thoughts on some of my adjectives, the superlatives describing this series. You saw those 80s series. Where does this one rank on the entertainment scale?
Oh, it's way better because the games are way closer. I mean, that Oilers team had 7 Hall of Fame players. right? They were just simply better than everybody else. The 87 series against the Flyers, Philly worked back, but this has been way tighter.
Seth Jones, top of the right circle, knocked away by Adam Henrique. Matthew Tkachuk backhanded behind the net, and that's retrieved by Matthias Ekholm. Swiftly up the middle, tipped on, and an offside. Jeff Skinner, who played very well in Game 4. Adam Henrique and Trent Frederick, his line mates. It's an offside against the Oilers, and a faceoff will come out to the neutral zone. It's interesting you bring up that 87 series, because it's the only time in the history of the Stanley Cup Final that a team has won 3 times when trailing by 2 or more goals in a game, and they still lost the series. The Philadelphia Flyers, as you know, mounted 3 comeback victories against Edmonton and still tasted defeat. Of course, the immortal 60-foot drive from Glenn Anderson put it away in Game 7 at Rexall Place, about 15 minutes from here.
Well, Ron Hextall won the Conn Smythe. That's another reason why that one went 7.
Up the left-hand side, Brad Marchand driving in left wing. Wrist shot, and that was deflected up and out of play. 4 minutes gone by in the first period. Each team with a shot on goal in this hockey game. Edmonton, Florida, 3 of the first 4 games going overtime for the 5th time in the history of the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton took Game 1 here by a count of 4-3 in OT. Then Florida answered 5-4 in double OT. Panthers followed that up with a 6-1 blowout win in Game 3 before Edmonton rallied from 3-0 down to beat Florida 5-4 on Thursday night in overtime. Here's Forsling to the middle. And that redirected off a skate. Brad Marchand working against Jake Wallman, top of the right circle. Quick shot and a save made. And a rebound grabbed, and Marchand will swing it down low. Lundell was the man who got the second shot on net, and Pickard stopped that as well. Forsling put it around the boards, and put Colson with a strike to Corey Perry, who tried to sneak it behind the defense for Leon Draisaitl, only to have it broken up. Draisaitl, of course, with the OT winner in both games that Edmonton has won in this Stanley Cup Final. Forsling, slide step to his left, shot blocked by Podkolzin and cleared up the middle. Nearly 5 minutes gone, no score. First period of Game 5 of this series tied at 2 games apiece. Essentially a best of 3, and Edmonton has regained the home ice advantage. Bouchard with a turnover. Schmidt into a crowd. That was blocked. Lead pass on to Brown up the right-hand side. McDavid's going to negate icing and force Bobrovsky to play it. McDavid first on the puck. Brown to the front of the net and was stopped. Rebound, McDavid, a sprawling denial by Bobrovsky, and then Bouchard with a painful shot block executed by Jonah Gadjevich, and the Oilers with another flurry on Bobrovsky that comes up empty. Kulak streaking up to center. He'll shoot it in. Bobrovsky to the corner for Gustav Forsling. He'll lay it off the right-hand glass. Darnell Nurse defending his own blue line. Had a goal and an assist in the come-from-behind win in Game 4. On to McDavid. He'll hit the Florida line. Tried to drop it off, deflected away from Evander Kane, and Carter Verhaeghe won a puck battle, forcing it back to center. Sasha Barkov cuts to his right. Here's a shot coming, and it was deflected out of play as Sam Reinhart unable to get that one on net against Calvin Pickard. 14 minutes, 14 seconds to play in this first period, and no score. Edmonton, Florida in Game 5. Game 6 will be played Tuesday night. Bob and I will have it for you live from Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida, and that's a Tuesday 6:20 puck drop Mountain Time.
Right now, Connor McDavid can't buy one. Picks up the loose change, and Bob fought it off. It's the second stop, but David's had 2 great opportunities, and Connor Brown, a breakaway and a net drive. He's on his horse tonight.
McDavid, you just feel his due, though, Bob. I mentioned never before has he played a playoff series without getting at least a goal. I had to look up. I wasn't sure Winnipeg in 2021 because Connor Hellebuck, Bob, as you know, it didn't seem like he let in any goals in that series. Off the draw, a chip in by Bennett went off the curved glass, and thus the faceoff will come back to the neutral zone with nearly 6 minutes gone by in the first. And let's hear a little Sergei chanting.
Well, you mentioned that playoff series against the Jets. Mike Smith was 9-12 for Edmonton. That's usually good enough for you to win a series, but not when Connor Hellebuck put up a 950.
Off the draw, here's Evan Rodriguez wristing it down deep. Calvin Pickard will drop it off. Hasn't been close to as good in the playoffs since, but he did win the Hart Trophy ahead of second-place finisher Leon Draisaitl. Dmitry Kulikov off to Nate Schmidt. And then a dart up the middle. Right-hand side, Sam Bennett. He'll drive it in. My personal feelings, goaltenders have their trophy. It's called the Vezina. Leon Draisaitl was the MVP this year, and it wasn't particularly close. Here's Evander Kane up the middle of the ice, sending it left corner for Darnell Nurse. Blasted by Kulikov into the corner. Nate Schmidt on the puck, and it's eventually wrangled free. Bennett nearly gave it away, put it off the shin pad of Henrique and out of play, and we will take timeout. 13-11 to go in the first period. Edmonton and Florida, no score. It's Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final in Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
If you've got educational goals, Portage College is ready to provide the assist. Portage College has over 30 programs, with some offered through blended delivery or entirely online. At Portage College, certificates, diplomas, apprenticeships, degree pathways, and micro-credentials are all within your reach. And just like any good team, it feels more like a family. With their small class sizes, you'll feel right at home in no time. To learn more about Portage College, visit portagecollege.ca. Portage College. It's about you.
Blue collar work deserves big dollar perks. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals is hiring heavy equipment technicians, maintenance supervisors, PM servicemen, maintenance coordinators, and pretty much every other position that makes Alberta go. We help move the earth that makes Alberta grow. So why not work for a company that makes your bank account grow too? Visit heavymetalequipment.ca to find your new career. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals, helping you move the earth.
End of the Row Flooring Centers is not only Canadian owned and operated, but we've been your go-to flooring center since 1986. The reason is simple. We make your flooring project easier. Rather than a tiny sample, upload a photo of your room at endoftheroll.com and instantly see what your dream flooring looks like in your house. Thousands of styles just clicks away. End of the Roll Flooring Centers. We've been flooring Canadians for 4 decades. Visit endoftheroll.com.
12870 St. Albert Trail and now open at 580 Parsons Road Southwest.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
No score. Game 5, the Stanley Cup Final. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. High atop Rogers Place, of course, sold out. And our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, home of no interest, no payments for 1 year. Adam Henrique to take an ozone draw for Edmonton. Frederick on his left, Skinner on his right. Ekholm and Wallman, the deep pairing, and a face-off won by Florida and flipped out by Aaron Ekblad. Retrieved by Ekholm, up the gut. Icing's going to be waved off. Bobrovsky emphatically signals as such and paddled it into the corner. Skinner first on the puck. Centering pass, Frederick denied. Frederick thunders into his man. The puck squirts loose in front of the net for a moment. And then Lundell could not get it out. Got picked off. Here's Ekholm moving it over to Wallman. One-timer Ekholm, and that stayed out. Rebound comes free to Luostarinen. And he'll clear to Brad Marchand. Center ice Lundell. Back to Marchand. Scampers in. Shoots, and a save made. Calvin Pickard, and he'll freeze it with 12 and a half to go in the first period. 33-year-old Calvin Pickard. His 2 daughters have been the recipient of numerous souvenir pucks, and now they'll get a puck from his start in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Won the game the other night with 22 saves in relief of Stuart Skinner.
Right now, the line that's going for Florida, third line. Marchand's on it early with Lundell and Luostarinen.
They've outscored the opposition 12-3 as a line in the playoffs. I said earlier, Lundell 20-6 when he's out there. Barkov won the draw, popped by Sam Reinhart, smacked out of midair by Evan Bouchard, and back to center we go. Blasted back in by Verhaeghe, who of course won a Stanley Cup in Tampa and then was on the Florida team that won it last year. He's the only guy to win cups for both Sunshine State franchises. Here's Sasha Barkov creating for Verhaeghe. Swung around Aaron Ekblad, and now high slot Reinhart. A reshot redirected. That was dangerously wide of Pickard. Bob, as you know, Pickard never laid eyes on it. Reinhart back to Ekblad, right point. He'll wind it around, stepping up as Nate Schmidt against Connor Brown. Puck knife free for Bouchard. Now Brett Kulak. Hard rim up the left-hand side. Cut off by Ekblad at center. Move quickly for Sasha Barkov, who does not have a goal in this series either. The two captains have yet to score a goal. Barkov picked up his first 2 points of the series on Thursday night. He continues to battle with Reinhart and Verhaeghe down low, but it's carved out of there by McDavid, and here's Brown. He'll chip and charge himself. In on Mikkola. The game winner off a Draisaitl stick, hammed off the inside of Mikkola's kneecap. Erie clears to center ice, and Nurse trades the puck with Draisaitl. Sent rink wide to Ekholm. He'll jam it in off the boards. Big short hop, handled by Bobrovsky. Parry to Nurse, a drive off the left pad of Sergei Bobrovsky. And I'm not sure he saw that one as much as it was a positional save offside Edmonton with 11:02 to go in the first. The shots may be listed right now at 3-3, and I'm sure they'll adjust because they usually are. But Bob, the quality scoring chances certainly have belonged to Edmonton here in the first 9 minutes.
And you nailed it. Bobrovsky's having pucks hit him. I mean, Connor McDavid twice, and Bobrovsky very nonchalantly played a long dump in that he might have picked up late.
Draisaitl lining up against Lundell on the dot immediately outside the Florida blue line. Won the faceoff back to Nurse. Over to Ekholm, and he'll drive it in, and that went off a stick and flew out of play into the mesh. So the faceoff will come right back to the neutral zone. 10:53 to go in the first period. Florida and Edmonton, I mean, again, we've talked about it all series long, Bob, a counterpoint to one another. Edmonton 7-2 at home, lights out, but then Florida 9-3 on the road with a +27 goal differential, including a win in game 2 of this series where they had to shake off the disappointment of seeing Corey Perry tie it with less than 18 seconds remaining in regulation. Off the draw, Marchand splits the seam to the net, reach shot, score, and Florida has the first goal of game 5. Brad Marchand, at age 37, turning back the clock with his 9th of the postseason.
We saw it, Jack. This line is hot right now, and Marchand got inside position on Matthias Ekholm, high glove on Calvin Pickard, and that's why Brad Marchand's a Hall of Fame player. I mean, that is just elite level finish. 1-0 the Panthers lead.
And it just developed off a draw at center, and Marchand,
he is on it tonight.
I mean, Draisaitl basically won the faceoff, and Marchand just ducked inside, took the puck, split the seam, and finished. And I said he was quiet in game 4, not so quiet tonight. His goal at 9:12, I believe, is going to be unassisted. Unless they give Lundell a token assist, but Draisaitl won the faceoff. Here's Bennett. Moving it in, poke checked away. Florida 11-3 in the Stanley Cup playoffs when they get the first goal, but one of those losses, of course, was just on Thursday night. Darnell Nurse tied up and then blasted by Sam Bennett. Up the right-hand side, chipped out. They are going to say it's an unassisted goal, and that's the correct call. Gadjevich flying in from the left-hand side. Bennett tried to fork it back to the point. Forsling wasn't there yet, so he'll hammer it in from center, and Bennett just popped Stetcher, and the crowd wanted an interference call as Stetcher comes off.
I mean, that's as obvious as could be. They look like they got the whistles put away tonight. And that tends to happen, Jack, as you go into games 5, 6, and 7 in playoff series.
Here's Nurse, fires a pass. I don't think Skinner got a touch on it, forcing something that really wasn't there. It's an icing call against Edmonton, and the crowd unhappy with that non-call on Troy Stetcher. And I don't know, I just saw it on the replay. I'm not sure there's a whole lot there. I mean,
skated right through.
Yeah, he skated through him, but he didn't really cross-check him. I think.
Well, this is a tricky time for Edmonton here. Yeah. They're going to have to bear down.
Barkov will line up against Adam Henrique. Well, again, just like the Oilers have rallied before, so has Florida. Barkov won the faceoff, a wrist shot and a save made by Calvin Pickard, and that's why the magnitude of Edmonton's achievement winning the Stanley Cup would be doubled because of the champion they would have to unseat. And that champion has come in here and taken a 1-0 lead in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final as we step aside with 9:42 to go in the opening period. Brad Marchand unassisted, his 9th of the playoffs, and that's the difference with the Panthers on top 1-0. More of Game 5 on deck with Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Oilers playoff ticket giveaways are on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Plus $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light during every game. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
The Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation 50-50, presented by Rogers, is back and bigger than ever. The largest 50-50 in sports offers early bird draws, bonus raffles, and a main jackpot, which is growing by the second. With over $100 million invested across oil country, your support directly helps kids, families, and communities in need. Maybe you'll be our next winner. Get your tickets right now at EdmontonOilers.com and help make oil country a better place.
AGLC license number 696879. When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back with Encore by Epcor. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Patio season is on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Grab your crew, sip something cold, and hang out on the best patio in town. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Well, amongst active players, you've got the guys with the 2 most Stanley Cup Final goals in this game. Brad Marchand just scored his 12th, and Corey Perry has 10. But Marchand has put Florida up 1-0 here in Game 5. Off the face-off, inside the Edmonton blue line. The Oilers clear inside the Florida blue. And it's Forsling taking it from Ekblad and up the gut. Come the Panthers for Hagee. Good look for Barkov. Tried to go between the wickets, and Ekholm denied that. Barkov lurking for the rebound, but it's Jake Wallman up the left-hand side. And when Ekblad can't seal it, it's a 3-on-2 for Edmonton. Over the line, Jeff Skinner tried to dish down low for Trent Frederick, and that play dies. Panthers come away with it. Skinner calling for a line replacement. Flipped up by Sam Reinhart. And here's Anton Lundell trying to skate out of danger with Kulak on him. Luostarinen inside to Marchand. Marchand, high slot, had his shot blocked. Rebound Lundell. This is a matchup that's been all Florida. Shot Jones, and that was fought off by Pickard through a screen. Rebound McDavid. Up the gut and on the move, Kulak. Nearly had his pocket pick, got it to Connor Brown, and it's sent in deep. Seth Jones to pick it up for Florida with 8:20 to go in the first period. Panthers on top 1-0. They have scored the first goal of the game in 4 straight games in this series and now have a 3-on-2. Sam Bennett has Marchand, finds a Marchand. Backdoor, and it was there. And Luostarinen can't finish. That was a tap-in. Oilers come the other way. Brown to Connor McDavid, left circle. Poke checked away by Kulikov to the high slot. Nurse had his shot blocked. Wow, Luostarinen had a tap-in to make it 2-0.
That line is feeling it, Jack. They are all over Edmonton every time they're on the ice.
Wristed down deep by Matthew Tkachuk. Panthers cut it off at center. Tkachuk 3 consecutive 20-point playoff campaigns. Sent in deep, Pickard. Left-hand side, Darnell Nurse, and now Troy Stetcher. Advances through the right-hand side for Victor Arvidsson. He'll pop it down low. Swatted away by Janmark. Nurse steps up, and that shot deflects high and wobbles out of play with 7:24 left in the first period. I will say on that prior rush, Jeff Skinner, I mean, you're the goal scorer. I go ahead and let that fly.
Yeah.
I know what he's trying to do, create for Frederick, but Skinner's the weapon on that line in terms of scoring. Face-off coming right side of Sergei Bobrovsky. Speaking of weapons, Leon Draisaitl on the ice with Podkolzin and Perry. Shots are 5-3 in this first period in favor of Florida. And the 3 shots are a bit of a surprise from an Edmonton standpoint, only because the Oilers have had a handful of quality looks. Barkov wins the faceoff. McDavid's banged a couple off the side of the net short side against Bobrovsky. Verhaeghe up the left wing boards for Barkov. Tried to leave it in close quarters, Sam Reinhart. Barkov shakes off one check, then guides it back to the point for Forsling. Barkov, left tap board, centers, and again a miss. Sam Reinhart point blank, and Stetcher might have had him partially tied up, then dug it out of the corner for Draisaitl, and the Oilers able to break out. Florida counterattack immediately. Barkov fumbled the puck, got it to Reinhart, and a wild shot from a sharp angle sails wide. Rebound held in by Mikkola. Down low for Reinhart, inside one-timer and a save on Carter Verhaeghe. Wow, Verhaeghe was wide open in the slot, and Pickard makes a terrific save. Draisaitl fires, and that went off the side of the net. Crowd thought it was in. They thought that Draisaitl had name-plated it on Sergei Bobrovsky, but it went off the side of the net. Gadjevich, right to left. Here's Seth Jones in the corner. Gadjevich back to the point. A.J. Greer can't hang on to it. Florida made no lineup changes from its loss in Game 4. Seth Jones on a reset.
McDavid out here with Kane and Arvidsson.
Nate Schmidt, left-hand side. That was tipped. Gadjevich eventually shoots it in. Kulak will pick it up in the corner. Less than 6 minutes to go in this first period. Florida 1, Edmonton no score. McDavid had it go off the toe of his stick and then fought his way through Nate Schmidt to get it in deep. Kulikov in trouble. McDavid with pressure. A.J. Greer with Lundell calling for an outlet. Gives it to him, and it's sent back to center ice. Flip back in, and then Kane got low-bridged by Dmitry Kulikov, and Schmidt will take over for Florida. Up the gut, Luostarinen. Right-hand side, over the line, Lundell. Crisscross with Marchand. Lundell floats it down low. Luostarinen off balance again, and Henrique up the left-hand side. Luostarinen may have been off balance when he tried to deflect home what should have been a tap-in to make it 2-0 Florida. Hammered in by Forsling, taken by Tkachuk, tried to center for Bennett, and that was picked off. Lead pass, Jeff Skinner. Henrique fell and couldn't handle it cleanly. Florida in the neutral zone, picks it up. Sam Bennett on the attack, and he fans, and then eventually forced a shot wide. Bennett, the league leader, with 14 Stanley Cup playoff goals for the Florida Panthers. Funneled back in by Mikkola.
Oilers got to get their feet moving, Jack. Right now, Florida is really skating. Edmonton's got to increase their tempo and pace here.
Ekholm to Nugent Hopkins, and now Wallman under control will take it behind his own net. 4.5 to go, first period. Edmonton has spotted Florida a lead again. Up the left-hand side, Bobrovsky. He'll send it up the left wing boards, Nugent Hopkins. Sam Reinhart on the puck for Florida. Only in Game 3 has Florida able to maintain a lead. Seth Jones is going to be guilty of interference. He took out Matthias Janmark, and they got him. Time 15:44. And the Edmonton Oilers will be on the power play when we come back. Jones to the box for interference. And though trailing 1-0, Edmonton has an opportunity at an equalizer. On deck, the Atco power play. Brad Marchand has given the Panthers a 1-0 lead. This is Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers Radio Network.
All right, give me something big.
The Ford It's a Big Deal event is on.
Bigger.
Get a big truck and an even bigger deal.
Love it. Now the details.
Right now, lease a 2025 F-150 STX with the Black Appearance Package from $220 bi-weekly at 0% APR for 24 months with $43.75 down. That's like $110 weekly.
Now bring it home.
Plus, there's a $750 bonus for eligible Ford owners. Hurry into your Alberta Ford store or visit Ford.ca today.
The same AI-powered technology that helps Oilers fans move through security efficiently at Rogers Place is also available for Edmonton area schools, hospitals, and workplaces. Evolve Technology, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers and official security screening partner of Rogers Place, helps identify potential threats and create safe experiences at hockey games and wherever people gather. Visit Rogers Place to experience Evolve live or check out evolve.com for more information. That's evolv.com.
Steel Haas Triton, 2 legendary oilfield services brands, one powerful partnership. Rooted in innovation, reliability, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, Steel Haas is proudly 100% Canadian-owned and locally manufactured. With over 15 field service locations across the prairies and up to the Rockies, they deliver world-class energy solutions with unmatched responsiveness, helping their customers thrive in the most demanding environments. Steel Haas Triton, engineered for performance, built in Canada. Visit steelhaasinc.com for more information.
All games, all season.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
4.25 to go, first period. The Oilers awarded the game's first power play. Leon Draisaitl will take the draw. Perry and McDavid to his right. Bouchard stationed at the left point. Nugent Hopkins on the left half boards. The Oilers have scored at least a power play goal, one of them, in 9 straight games. Only the 88 club had a better streak, and they nearly doubled it with 16 in a row. Edmonton 42% at home in the playoffs on the power play. That 88 club, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, went 16 and 2.
And a half.
And a half, yes.
Because of Whitey Bulger.
3-3 in the Garden. Off the draw. Left-hand side. Corey Perry. And a chipped off the boards, but held in by Draisaitl. A tough cross-seam pass going to be picked up by Nosek shorthanded. Florida penalty kill that's 86%. Best in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Here's Nosek protecting the puck along the end boards. Melted off another 10 seconds before it was chiseled free by Perry to Leon Draisaitl. Put the brakes on at center. Now he'll take it across the line. Corey Perry receives a pass from Draisaitl. One touches it back to Bouchard. And now Edmonton set up. Atco, your trusted Alberta retailer. Here's Nugent Hopkins. McDavid not getting a touch here. And Ekblad whistles one down the right-hand side. That's a tough situation when McDavid goes the first 50 seconds without a touch on this power play. Now he'll get one as Bouchard hands off to him. McDavid bursts of speed over the line, tried a shot that was blocked. Rebound Mikkola, hard rim off the left-hand glass, and McDavid tried to go 1-on-3 and it didn't pan out. Bouchard back to collect for Edmonton. 45 seconds on the man advantage. Hits the red line, and a weird hop off the stanchion. Caught the side of the net. Break for Florida. Nosek will clear, and now Luostarinen will skate into it shorthanded against Bouchard. Keeps it on his stick. Luostarinen not trying to do anything offensively. Now tried to center for Nosek, and that was broken up, and Bouchard's able to put it to rest. Draisaitl wants a change. Top unit comes off. So you've got Wallman out there, and he'll skate it up to center. Lost the handle, and Lundell with a soft toss and a one-bouncer held by Pickard. He tried to move it, but they whistled it down. And Florida with a real effective job on the kill here, Bob, as Edmonton has just 16 seconds with which to work on the Seth Jones penalty for interference.
Yep. High pressure. They pressure the flanks and Bouchard to create turnovers. And part of that is the Oilers have Zach Hyman when he's healthy as a puck retrieval guy as a net front. Corey Perry's great in deflections, great around the net, but he doesn't have the same ability to recover pucks as Hyman down low.
Off the draw, Ekholm harassed just long enough by Sasha Barkov to basically end the power play. Wallman's cut off at center. Jones is going to come in. Adam Henrique struggled to control, and finally, as it's shot in by Matthias Ekholm from center ice, Florida returns to full strength, and Barkov guides one back through the neutral zone. Ekholm lost the handle at the red line. Bennett rolled it over to Matthew Tkachuk. Fires, and that was blocked. Rebound score, Sam Bennett. 2-0 Florida. And Edmonton, whatever momentum it hoped to gain, did not materialize on the power play, and Sam Bennett cashes in. When the Panthers go back to 5-on-5, that's his 15th of the postseason, and he extends his own NHL record with his 13th goal on the road.
Well, Matthew Tkachuk's gotten going here in this series, but tough period here for Matthias Ekholm. He had the puck in the neutral ice area right in front of the Oilers bench, and he didn't get it deep, and the Oilers ended up turning the puck over, and you kind of felt, you could totally see the lack of momentum after a poor power play from Edmonton. And the Panthers have come in here and kind of did what they did to Toronto in game number 5 of that series.
Rodriguez wins the faceoff. Kulikov gets it back from Matthew Tkachuk and then draws a tripping penalty. He ducked to his left and was hauled down. Dmitry Kulikov has drawn a penalty here with 1:43 to go in the first period. The Panthers have a 2-goal lead, and they'll have a chance to extend it further on the power play as Vasily Podkolzin reached and got called for a trip. And Bob, what Florida now must do is what it didn't accomplish. I'm going to give Edmonton some credit, obviously, for their comeback in Game 4, but it was the first time the Panthers really backed off the forecheck since Game 1 when they tried to nurse home that 3-2 lead.
This game turned after McDavid got stopped the second time. Oilers huge kill late in the period. Look out.
Barkov won the face-off to Tkachuk. A blast by Jones. A sprawling Pickard was fortunate that puck didn't hit the net. Ekblad cross seam deflected. He'll get it back from Matthew Tkachuk and handle it left corner. Tkachuk ushers it on to Barkov, who still doesn't have a goal in this series. Gets it back from Reinhart. High slot Seth Jones, who just missed the net on that drive. And now Tkachuk tried to go between the wickets. Wrist shot. Ekblad had it blocked. Rebound, stumbling, and now the Oilers don't have a stick. Bouchard without a stick. It's a 5-on-3.5 here. Nap Auto Parts penalty kill under duress with Florida already leading 2-0. Ekblad to Jones in the left corner, centering past Reinhart. Ekblad in the high slot. Jones loading up left circle, down low, waiting. Bennett moves it. Barkov didn't handle it cleanly, and it's fired down the ice by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Big break for Edmonton that time. And Barkov just has not been in sync offensively. Obviously, the two-way game, for the most part, is always there. Rodriguez from center ice shoots it in. That's going to be picked up by Carter Verhaeghe. He'll hit the line and get some support from Marchand. Up top, Rodriguez to Nate Schmidt. Showing shot, then letting a wrister go into the glove of goaltender Calvin Pickard as Marchand, trying to set a net front screen, gets popped a couple of times for good measure from Wallman and Janmark. 23 seconds left in the 23 seconds left in the period, and a 17-second carryover potentially on the man advantage.
Just a massive final 23 seconds of this period here for the Oilers.
Just 3 shots for Edmonton throughout the period.
No shots in the last
10 minutes.
More than that, I think, Jack.
Bennett with a face-off against Pickard to his right-hand side. Connor McDavid is on the ice here for the final 23 seconds, just to give Florida something to think about. It's part of the Nap Auto Parts penalty kill, and McDavid's going to be chased out of the circle. He'll be replaced by Matthias Janmark. Sam Bennett against Janmark. And off the draw, Wallman. Behind the net, Darnell Nurse. Hard rim, got through Nate Schmidt. And the Florida Panthers will have one last rush to offer here in the first period. 10 seconds. Nate Schmidt to Carter Verhaeghe, left wing. Centering pass, deflected. Rebound, Bennett put it off the side of the net. Backhand wraparound, Rodriguez stopped. Shot by Schmidt, deflected out of play. And now Bennett comes thundering back into Jake Wallman. And I think it'll be no harm, no foul. I don't think we're going to see penalties on that last little dust-up, as Florida will have 17 seconds with which to work on a power play to begin the second period. But the Panthers, as Bob noted, have come in and played a composed opening 20 and took advantage of, quite frankly, a tepid Edmonton power play effort. And the Panthers score immediately upon coming back 5-on-5 and take a 2-0 lead. Want to remind everyone that your Oilers 50-50 jackpot, of course, is nearly $6 million right now. And tonight's early bird prizing, including $5,000 and $20,000 cash prizes. Bob, what does Edmonton need to do to flip the script in the second?
Wake up. They got to kill the first 17 seconds, but the Marchand line with Lundell and Losterainen has absolutely owned the period. They're the ones that tilted the ice. Tough period for Matthias Ekholm. Marchand got inside positioning on him on the breakaway and then beat Calvin Pickard high glove side. And then Matthias went to play the puck up the left side boards. Very tentative performance from the Edmonton Oilers. The only good thing here for Edmonton is that they've proven that they've been able to respond. But this has been a clinic by the Panthers through the first 20 minutes of this game.
8 comeback victories for the Edmonton Oilers, 4 by 2 or more goals down. And they're the 7th team in the history of the Stanley Cup Final to have 2 wins when they trailed by 2. Remember, they were down 3-1 in Game 1 and rallied to win that one 4-3 in overtime. And, of course, the dramatic comeback on Thursday night in Sunrise when they were down 3-0 after 1, only to rally and win the hockey game 5-4 in overtime. And, again, startlingly similar first periods. Florida up 3-0 on Thursday night after 1, having outshot Edmonton 17-7. Tonight, the numbers just reduced by a certain factor. Florida up 2-0, shots 9-3 in favor of the Panthers. And as Bob mentioned, and depending on, we saw numerous shot clock adjustments, but Edmonton at the very least did not have a shot on goal in the second half of the period after some early looks on Sergei Bobrovsky.
There's really, they're really good. We know that about Florida, but that is an inexplicable first period performance. Leon said it after the game. You can't keep spotting a team this good. That's sort of,
Well, and Chris Knobloch said it as well. He goes, I love the resilience, and this team has been as resilient as any in the NHL in the last 20 years over the last 2 seasons. But at some point, against a quality hockey club, you start running out of chances and running out of miracles. Edmonton will have to dig itself out of a 2-0 hole. 20 minutes complete. When we come back, Bryn and Rob will have their say on how the first period materialized. From Rogers Place, it's Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. And Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready.
Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge.
That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Stay connected with your community and enjoy the latest updates and exclusive access to concerts and events by becoming an 880 Ched Insider. Don't miss out on a single moment. Sign up now at 880ched.com and click on Ched Insider Newsletter to become a vital part of Edmonton's premier news and talk community. 880 Ched, Edmonton's news, today's talk, where Edmonton stays informed and entertained today and every day. At the Intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
To Reinhart, and a wild shot from a sharp angle, sails wide. Rebound held in by Mikkola. Down low for Reinhart, inside, one-timer to save on Carter Verhaeghe. Wow, Verhaeghe was wide open in the slot, and Pickard makes a terrific save.
And that's our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and right next door to the Edmonton International Airport, too. Welcome to the Winter Zone. Welcome to the first intermission. We're back at Rogers Place. Bryn Griffiths along with Rob Brown. And after 20 minutes of play, the Florida Panthers, the defending champs, with a 2-0 lead on the Edmonton Oilers. Calvin Pickard, as we heard in the Highlight Zone, a busy guy, Rob, in that back half of that first period where the Panthers started to find their way.
Yeah, it was not a good start for the Oilers, and it's something that we just talked about 48 hours ago. The Florida Panthers were the better team. Calvin Pickard, the busier of the 2 goaltenders. The Oilers saw what happened in Florida when the Florida Panthers came out, and it took an amazing comeback for the Oilers to come back and win that hockey game. But they talked afterwards, we can't do that again. We can't come out sleepy. We can't allow a good team to continue to control a period, because you're not always going to be able to fight your way back. And tonight, the Oilers came out again sleepy. They didn't create much. They had 3 shots on net, 2 good opportunities, and then in a period that they were the second best team, they get a power play late, and it would have almost been unfair if you were the hockey gods for the Oilers to tie the game up, simply because they were the second best team, but they had that chance.
Right.
And their power play created nothing. There was only 1 shot on the power play, and it was by the Panthers. The penalty killing of the Panthers have been fantastic all playoff long, but there was just nothing. So, and then from that, and we talked that there isn't momentum game to game, but there is momentum during a game, during a period, after shift to shift. The Florida Panthers controlled that penalty kill. They were dominant on that penalty kill, and what happens right afterwards?
Yeah.
They get the scoring chance and they extend the lead. So I think 2-0 is maybe flatters the Edmonton Oilers in that period, because if you think about it, the Florida Panthers missed a wide open net on a backdoor pass from Marchand and another one in front of the net. So this probably could have been 3 or 4-0 in that period. The Oilers were not good enough.
It's funny, we talked after the last game about the fact that the Panthers just couldn't seem to get the full forecheck going, which they'd had going really well in the opening 3 games. It was going pretty good there because it forced the Oilers. Their passing was just, either the pass was just a little bit too far ahead of the Oiler player, or it was in his skates. It just seemed like they couldn't go tape to tape.
Well, when the Oilers or the Panthers are at their best, they are forechecking and you have no time to think.
Right.
And so as a player, when the puck comes to you, you already have to know where it's going. And if you don't, well, it's too late. And we saw in that period that the Panthers just created a number of turnovers or icings because they were quick on the forecheck. They took away options. And when the Oiler got the puck and looked up, too late. So it was not, I mean, there's not a whole lot of positives out of that period for the Edmonton Oilers. They had 2 good chances. Bobrovsky made 2 big saves. And that's what a great goaltender is, and that's what he is. But you can't, I don't think you're going to win a hockey game if you're averaging 3 shots a game. Or a period, sorry. I mean, they've got 3 shots. That's not enough. Bobrovsky is world class. They need bulk on Bobrovsky. He will let a bad goal in. We saw the Nurse goal last game. But you're not going to beat him. You know, he's not going to let a bad one if you're averaging 9 shots on the night. So the Oilers have to be better. They realize that. This is not a surprise. They just have to regroup in this second period. Now, the second period, the first 3 games was not the Oilers' period. It was in Game 4. Hopefully the Oilers can find a little Game 4 magic and pump it into their dressing room right now.
I guess from an Oilers perspective, at least they're only down by 2 here.
Well, it could have been worse. I mean, it was 2-0, and the Panthers get a power play at the end of the period. And if they capitalize on that, I'm not sure the Panthers are going to fall apart like they did last game, down 3 or up 3-0. So the Oilers killed off the first minute, 43. They've got 17 seconds to kill off here at the start of the second period. The one thing that we've seen is this refereeing crew is allowing them to play a little bit more. That's probably a good thing for the Oilers because their play has not been effective and their penalty killing hasn't either in this series. So play 5-on-5, but they got to get shots. Their best opportunity was a simple play. Connor Brown got the puck, drove the net. With him driving the net, he left the puck on the pad of Bobrovsky. Connor comes in, he gets a rebound, almost scores. And it was a simple play. There was nothing special about what Connor Brown did other than he drove the net. Get into the blue paint on Bobrovsky. That was way too easy a period for Sergei Bobrovsky.
Now, of course, they got to get through this power play, which is a short one.
It's 17 seconds. Yeah. You win a draw. Simple. You win a draw and you ice it, and now the power play is almost completely gone. But then you got to build off of that. You got to build off of this kill. The Florida Panthers are good. Don't give them easy opportunities. I mean, the Marchand goal, a nice move, but it was off a face-off with nobody moving, and he just simply goes in. He beats Ekholm to the inside. Fantastic shot. Pickard has no chance on that. Florida's good. Don't help them. And I think on that one, Ekholm just got caught a little flat-footed and turned the wrong way.
Bob said they got to get their skates going.
Well, really, they didn't have a whole lot going. Connor had a couple shifts.
Yes, early.
And then after that, the Oilers were the second best team they were chasing. And the Florida Panthers, seriously, in the offensive zone, they had a number of good looks on Calvin Pickard. The Oilers have to get better. It starts with a forecheck. Get the puck. What the Florida Panthers do, they completely bottle up the neutral zone. They're daring you to try and beat them at the blue line. Just put the puck in behind. Put the puck in behind the defense and get them to turn and try to win some battles deep in the Florida zone. There was not enough battles in Florida's zone.
Rob, thanks. We'll talk to you coming up in intermission number 2. Hey, the one thing you got to remember, the Florida Panthers are 9-3 on the road this season in the postseason. So they're good, as Rob likes to say. We'll take a break. Coming back with more at the Intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with
Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
Tired of skyrocketing energy bills? Switch to clean, affordable power with Horizon Solar. Whether you want to cut costs, go green, or increase your home's value, Horizon Solar has you covered with tailored solar energy solutions. With current government incentives, there's never been a better time to make the switch. Own your power, control your bills, live sustainably. For your free assessment, call Horizon Solar today or visit horizonsolar.com to get started. Horizon Solar, where going green makes sense.
When the Oilers are on the ice, the big hits are a part of the game. But they shouldn't be a part of your drive. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown & Associates and their over 200 years of combined injury law experience help you. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown & Associates is ready to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with...
And Oilers win! Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
With Global News, I'm Thomas Dias. Premier Danielle Smith says her government's new policy forcing many Albertans to pay out of pocket for a COVID-19 vaccination is about focusing on those who need it the most. Smith says $135 million got flushed down the drain last year from doses wasted in part because of low vaccine uptake. Her government will still pay for some people to get the shot, including for those who have compromised immune systems or those on social programs. The opposition NDP says it's a cruel move to charge Albertans who simply want to protect their health and their loved ones. This with public health care experts expecting fewer people will now get vaccinated in the province, saying it could lead to higher costs for things like hospital stays. And Iran launched a second night of missile strikes against Israel, with Israeli forces continuing their attacks against Tehran and other sites in Iran. It came a day after Israel's blistering attack on Iranian nuclear and military sites over Tehran's rapidly advancing nuclear program. News on demand at 880ched.com.
Ready to score big on your outdoor space? It's game time with Park Landscaping. Transform your backyard into a winning arena with Park Landscaping's expert team. From design to maintenance of lush lawns and state-of-the-art synthetic turf to inviting pools and captivating water features, Park Landscaping will make your outdoor space the MVP. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with Park Landscaping. Call 780-486-2744 today or email info@parklandscaping.ca.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon's scoring in Leduc. Watch Ty tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
At the Intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Panthers lead the Oilers 2-0 after one period of play. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Brought to you by Pizza 73, official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. 2 games in the CFL tonight, actually. We have one that is late in the third quarter. The Saskatchewan Roughriders hanging on. They're in Hamilton to play the Tiger Cats. It's 14-10 for the Green Riders. Game earlier this afternoon, the Calgary Stampeders surprising the hometown Argonauts as they celebrated their Grey Cup championship with a banner today, but it was Stampeders 29-19 earlier this afternoon. Oilers got to get it going here in period number 2. We'll see what's coming your way. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Period number 2 is up next at the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Four Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
At Northern Lakes College, students work, raise their family, and complete their certificate, diploma, or partnership degree. With NLC's supported distance learning model, you can do it all in a flexible online classroom. Explore a variety of programs from academic upgrading to university studies, including a wide range of courses available through continuing education. Skate into your new career in a learning environment that works for you. NorthernLakesCollege.ca. The education you want, the flexibility you deserve.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
2-0 for the Florida Panthers in Edmonton. After being dominated in the first 3 second periods of this series, flipped the script in Game 4 and came up with a clutch second period, erased a 3-goal deficit inside of 15 minutes, and now trailing 2-0 after one. They'll look to have a similar bounce back in the second period, but first, the Oilers will have to wipe out the remaining 17 seconds on the tripping penalty assessed against Vasily Podkolzin at the tail end of the first. 2-0 for Florida. Marchand from Lundell. They have given him an assist on a faceoff. He actually lost to Leon Draisaitl at 9:12. Bennett from Tkachuk at 18:06. And both goals coming at even strength. Florida has outshot Edmonton 8-3 as we open the second period. Barkov wins the faceoff against Connor Brown, who's out there on the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill with Kulak, Bouchard, and Janmark. Bouchard won a battle from Verhaeghe, did not get it out. Forsling, top of the left circle. Panthers left to right in period 2. Forsling down low, handled by Verhaeghe. And then he'll twist it back behind the net. Podkolzin's out of the box. A hard rim by Kulak will turn into an icing call against Edmonton 27 seconds in. So the first part of the mission obviously accomplished with the Oilers having cleaned up the remaining seconds of Florida power play time, and now 5-on-5 to begin this second period with Florida up 2-0.
Oilers got to survive a D-zone draw here. Ekholm on the right side of the defense. We've not seen that a lot this season on that Marchand goal against a line that's just been feeling it. They were dominating in the first period. The Oilers got a lot of work to do here. It's been all Florida.
Janmark won a face-off. Bennett, open man. Tkachuk, wrist shot, save. Pickard, rebound available. And eventually it's Connor Brown who ducks away. I got to say, Calvin Pickard has only been credited with 7 saves in this game, Bob. At least 4 of those are pretty good looks for the Florida Panthers. Certainly a chance for Tkachuk. Now, Aaron Ekblad finishes his check on Podkolzin in the corner. The puck rolled free to Sam Bennett. He'll take a wrist shot. Why not shoot it from anywhere if you're Sam Bennett? Picked up his 15th of the postseason in the first period. This one's deflected and cleared out to Connor Brown, who gets it in deep. Bennett back to get it for Florida. Panthers in the white with the blue pants outlined in red and yellow trim. Oilers in their blue and orange home sweaters. Hard hit by McDavid, and that one shook up Luo Sturinen. He is slightly hobbled as he gets up, awfully slowly. McDavid and Draisaitl are together here, and it's Draisaitl trying to get it down low. Forsling cut it off, poke checked off his stick, slithered in front, and lifted by Ekblad up the left-hand side for Marchand, motoring in on Jake Wallman and taking him out.
How's that not a penalty?
Up the left-hand side, Ekholm. Now you've got McDavid out there with Perry and Draisaitl. Perry tried a cross-ice pass that was deflected, and here's Marchand. Right circle, wrist shot. And that flew over the left shoulder of Pickard, but up over top, off the glass. Glance back in the corner for A.J. Greer. Nosek sneaks inside of Ekholm into puck possession. Hovering close by is Perry. Thundered into by Gadjevich. McDavid directs a puck back to Wallman, who lifts it down the middle, and it's settled by Kulikov as Evander Kane in on the forecheck. Lead pass Seth Jones to center ice, wristed down deep by Nosek. Nosek picks off a lead pass from Pickard, tried a shot. That was deflected by Nugent Hopkins behind the net. Draped all over him, Gadjevich. Now Verhaeghe in the mix, and we've seen Verhaeghe with that fourth line at times tonight for Florida already. Darnell Nurse to the right-hand side for Troy Stetcher. Locates Kane, did not handle the pass cleanly, and off the turnover. Here come the Panthers. Sasha Barkov, right circle for Florida. Backhander in front and lifted over the net by Carter Verhaeghe. He went down. If he had been able to keep his balance, it might have been 3-0. Verhaeghe against Nurse, and now Sam Reinhart. Forced off his stick by Nurse. Continuing to battle is Reinhart. Verhaeghe kicks it out to Aaron Ekblad across, and that was mishandled by Forsling. And here comes Evander Kane streaking down the left-hand side, and Ekblad was able to reel him in, but they're going to call a trip on Aaron Ekblad. Time 3:17. This will be Edmonton's second power play of the night, brought to you by Atco Energy, your trusted Alberta retailer.
That's a tough call, I thought, on Aaron Ekblad. I mean, well, he clicked skates with him, though, Jack, so they called it a penalty. One of the problems the Oilers had is they only won 33% of the draws in the first period. Draisaitl was 4-3. Edmonton needs to win a face-off here to get some possession time in the offensive zone, Jack.
Oilers have been outshot 10-4 through the first 23 minutes of action. Now they get a power play, brought to you by your trusted Alberta retailer, Atco. Draisaitl lines up for the draw. Perry and McDavid in the slot. Nugent Hopkins top of the left circle. Bouchard at the point. Face-off. Win for Florida. Hard rim Mikkola. And once again, the Panthers start the power play for Edmonton with an energy-draining face-off win and a pestering Luostarinen, who drains an additional 10 seconds off the clock. Bouchard with McDavid completely double covered. Now kicked it back, and McDavid finding Nugent Hopkins. Around the boards, that's going to be Perry sending it over to Leon Draisaitl. Bouchard, open man, Nugent Hopkins. McDavid on the goal line, cross ice. Bouchard, one-timer, Draisaitl. And that may have been deflected. Big hop off the corner boards, held in by Bouchard. The wall sealed. Jones could not get it out, neither could Nosek, but coming over is Mikkola with a hard strike off the right-hand boards, and this puck tumbles back into the Edmonton zone with 1:05 on the penalty to Ekblad. Oilers trail 2-0 here in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. The series tied at 2 games apiece. Game 6 Tuesday night in Sunrise. Draisaitl staggers his way over the line to Nugent Hopkins, twisted back to Bouchard. Nugent Hopkins left circle, in tight for Corey Perry. Took his eye off it for a moment, then recovered. Nugent Hopkins threw it across McDavid. Bouchard not ready to shoot the one-timer. Nugent Hopkins fires, deflected, fought off by Bobrovsky, rebound, and Perry had it off Bobrovsky. Kulikov unable to clear. McDavid back to Bouchard. 30 seconds left on the power play. Nugent Hopkins to McDavid. Looking. Dishing off to Bouchard. Draisaitl hovering in the right circle. McDavid looks that way. On his backhand, he'll give it back to Draisaitl. Up top, high slot. One-timer Bouchard, and the save made by Bobrovsky. Rebound pitchfork by Kulikov. Slashed at a couple times by Reinhart, and finally fired down the ice by Barkov. And that will do it for the Edmonton power play. Calvin Pickard's going to hang on to this puck and then put it up the left-hand side. Angled off by Reinhart and tossed out of play as Florida comes back to full strength. 14:41 left, second period. And the Oilers, again, fail to convert a power play. They're now 4 for 22 in the series. Of course, Bobrovsky did a good job of handling that deflection.
Yeah. Last year, you recall, Edmonton was just 3 for 24 in the Stanley Cup Final. And still ended up having a 29% power play, so dropped off. Florida's got the #1 ranked penalty killing in the playoffs this year. It's the pressure. They are pressuring Edmonton all over the ice because they can. This has been the best game Florida's played yet, Jack, and they won a game 6-1 in this series, but they are on it.
Series is tied at 2. Long way to go, though. Jeff Skinner mishandled, and then the puck was pumped out of play by Mikkola from inside his own blue line, but it was deflected off a player on the Oiler bench. So the faceoff will remain at neutral ice with 5 1/2 gone by in the second period. Biggest thing, though, Bob, is this has been a low event game since those early moments where McDavid flurried in front of Sergei Bobrovsky.
2 great chances, and Bobrovsky fought them both off.
Seth Jones to Mikkola, another Florida face-off win. Rodriguez comes over the line, and it's kept alive by Sam Bennett. In on Darnell Nurse, and eventually into puck possession. Sam Bennett is just flying in this series and in this entire Stanley Cup playoffs. Here the cycle disrupted by Stetcher, and the puck wedged out safely to neutral ice. Matthew Tkachuk carries it back in for Florida. Panthers operating left to right in period 2. Oilers on the puck. Trent Frederick back to Stetcher. He'll reset and elude Matthew Tkachuk with a lead pass to Darnell Nurse, who cuts right and heads for the Florida zone. He'll backhand it in deep. Bobrovsky calling signals. Gathered by Seth Jones. Popeye's son up the right-hand side to Sam Bennett. Cross-seamer, and he missed A.J. Greer. The Oilers looked to counter, but Janmark could not get through the Florida defense. And now you've got Gadjevich on to Greer. Kulikov redirected in front, and Florida unable to come up with a loose puck. Nosek put it net front for Gadjevich, who's now on it right corner. Behind the net for Nosek, pursued by Janmark. Good shift for Florida's fourth line. Nosek directs a pass to Kulikov. Across to Nate Schmidt. Put it down low. And Nosek back on the puck for the Florida Panthers, who have players 14 through 18 out there and are having a really good shift right now. And Edmonton just can't get it out. Kulikov, right point, sends it back down low. Finally taken and firing up the left-hand side. Kulak, that's off target. Arvidsson, his speed from the right-hand side negated icing and draws an appreciative roar from the sellout crowd. Barkov in the corner. McDavid hovering close by. Up to Sam Reinhart, and the Panthers are out. Reinhart put too much on it, and I think he was inside his own blue line. That's delay of game against Florida. Sam Reinhart got that puck up on edge and tossed it out of play. And when we come back, the Oilers will be on their 3rd power play of the night. A no-doubter from my point of view. They're discussing it. We'll have the answer for you. Reinhart, oh yeah, he's a good couple strides from the blue line. Referees are going to get some help on this call. 12:32 to play, second period. This is Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final with Florida on top 2-0 on the Oilers Radio Network.
Fridays just got fired up. Prime rib for $20.99. Coors tankards for $9.99. And White Claw and Olay deals after 4 p.m. Only at the Canadian Brew House. Our house is your house.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. You know, Alberta's a special place. From the Rockies to the Plains, it's a land of hard work and big dreams. If you're going to tackle it all, you need a truck that can keep up. That's why I can't say enough about my Ford F-150. It's more than a truck. It's a partner. Rugged toughness, serious capability, and smart features that make your life easier, like available Pro Power onboard. The Ford F-150. Get yours today at your Alberta Ford dealer, and tell them PB sent you.
Athletes know that to advance your career, you've got to be part of a winning team. So, what about you? Are you working for a winning team? Well, here's your chance to do just that. Brandt is a strong and stable industry leader with career opportunities across Canada. We have hundreds of positions available right now, from parts, sales, positioning technology, heavy-duty mechanics, and more. Be a part of a winning team. Earn your stripes by joining Brandt today. Find out more at BrandtJobs.com.
Catch every goal, every hit, every moment of the playoffs, live at the Canadian Brew House. Big screens, cold beers, and all the action. The Canadian Brew House. Our house is your house.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Well, another opportunity for Edmonton to draw closer here, trailing 2-0 in Florida as it did in the second period of Game 4 on Thursday night has gone quiet. In that game, the Panthers did not have a shot on net for the first 8 minutes of the second period. In this game, they've had one, and their lead remains 2-0, and Edmonton can cut that in half on a power play after Sam Reinhart guilty of tossing it out of play from 2 strides inside his own blue line. Once again, Draisaitl on the face-off. This time it's not a stacked slot, just Perry out there, and Draisaitl won it cleanly, but perhaps too cleanly, and now we're going to drop it again. So it's rendered academic that the fact the puck eluded Evan Bouchard, who's working the points right now with Connor McDavid. Nugent Hopkins on the left half boards, but McDavid, instead of being right next to Perry on the hash marks, will now take the face-off himself, and Draisaitl up top of the circles. McDavid, with Draisaitl having been moved out,
dropped the puck.
Lundell on the face-off. Trent Knorr, the linesman, does drop the puck. Spurts free. Draisaitl clubbed one toward the net. Didn't get all he wanted. The puck was on edge and wobbled wide. Lundell with a chance to clear. Didn't get it done. Neither did Ekblad. And here's Perry. Keep it in line for McDavid from behind the net. A chance for Draisaitl. And now McDavid from beneath the goal line out to Bouchard, who made certain to keep the puck in the zone. Perry quickly, a new stick as it was broken. Draisaitl circles. High slot for Edmonton. And now it's McDavid right circle to Bouchard in the high slot. Slide step to his right, then back to the middle. McDavid walks in, slithers one toward the net, deflected out to Draisaitl. One-timer, Bouchard redirected wide. Here's McDavid directly behind the net, peering inside. Off to Bouchard, walking the line. McDavid to Nugent Hopkins. McDavid without a goal in this series. Nugent Hopkins tried to center, bumped around. Ekblad will have a chance to clear. Flung it off the boards, knocked down by McDavid, held in by Bouchard. Here's McDavid shooting, and that one off the goal post. Just off the outside of the left post. Now Bouchard gives it back to McDavid. Inside, Perry had it knocked away. Great play by Forsling. Perry to McDavid. 50 seconds on the Atco power play. Oilers 0 for 2. McDavid to Draisaitl. It's not there. Luostarinen has no stick. 5 on 3.5. Puck up top. Bouchard to McDavid. Loading up. Tried to dish. Blocked. And unable to soccer it out of play is Luostarinen. Here's Bouchard. Keeping it just inside the blue line. 5 on 3.5. McDavid fires, and that ended up out of play. A big cross check in front on Corey Perry, who went down at a heap. And with 27 seconds to go on the penalty to Reinhart, Edmonton will go to its second unit with 10:59 to go in the second. The Oilers, I have to give Florida some credit. They packed it in tight and kept Edmonton up top.
They did, and McDavid hit the post. That's the other thing that happened. I got a little bit of a break, and then Perry got cross-checked right from behind by Ekblad. Just a great job clearing the front of the net by him.
And it just twisted off the post. Connor McDavid.
And Bobrovsky, Jack, is locked in this game. Pucks are hitting him. He's been a little bit lucky.
Well, and he hasn't seen many pucks. That's the other thing. I think you'd agree with me, Bob. The Oilers cannot play the next 29 minutes with only 8 shots on net and expect to come back and win this game.
They got to get to 30.
Here's Adam Henrique, won the faceoff. It's Jeff Skinner powering his way toward the net and keeping it on his stick, shooting it off the pads of Bobrovsky, and a rebound cleared by Barkov. This is Jeff Skinner's first playoff game at home. The other 3 had been on the road. He's winning some puck battles, and a lot of people don't realize that Jeff Skinner's advanced metrics tell you that's not abnormal. He's better than many people expect in that category. Having said that, as the Oilers dump it in, Seth Jones reaches center and fires it in, and the Oilers are 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. Power plays are 3-1 in favor of Edmonton. No one has scored. With a man advantage, Florida has 2 5-on-5 goals. Marchand and Bennett in the first period. Chipped up ice to Barkov by Kulikov and sent in deep. The Oilers corral the puck. Brett Kulak up the right-hand side, turned it over at center, trying to step in. One thing all those penalties have done have kind of taken that third line of Florida out of the game for now. Here's Kulak up the right-hand side, bumped up to Arvidsson by Adam Henrique. Matthew Tkachuk able to reel it in for Florida. Long toss for Bennett. He'll shovel it down low for Evan Rodriguez. Ballman trying to hunt him down. Coming over to make a play on it is Arvidsson. Back in the lineup. Up the left-hand side, jammed in by Frederick. After it is Nico Mikkola. Protecting the puck with Janmark all over him. Arvidsson to the point for Jake Wollman. Here's Stetcher, showing shot, then shooting wide, clattered off the glass. Here's Wollman, long shot. This is where Edmonton started a comeback on Thursday night. Its depth paid off big time. A high floater sent up ice by Seth Jones. Remember, McDavid on only one assist in Edmonton's 5-4 win on Thursday. The Oilers back on the puck. Stetcher fires on net from center ice. A save made by Bobrovsky. A hard hit on McDavid from Ekblad. Connor Brown trying to create a turnover and does so. Ekholm steps in left corner. McDavid checked. And the Panthers, with their fourth line out, able to carve it free and up to center. Here comes Jonah Gadjevich and Gustav Forsling, who fires it around the boards. Quickly sent up ice to McDavid. A one-touch on to Connor Brown. Left wing against Kulikov. On the puck now, Leon Draisaitl. One-timer, Ekholm, and that's speared by Bobrovsky with 8:32 to play in the second period. The Oilers have come out here in the second and outshot Florida by a count of 8-1. But they've had two power plays that have not borne any fruit. And as a result, it's Florida 2, Edmonton nothing. This is Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. And for Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com. Do your tires feel like hockey pucks on the road? Perhaps it's time for a new set of Atturo tires. No matter what you drive, Atturo has the right fit for you, including the all-new Trail Blade HT and AZ810. Premium all-weather tires for your pickup, car, SUV, or crossover. You can rest assured that Atturo tires will get you through all 4 seasons. Available at Action Car and Truck, Point S, and tire shops everywhere. Find a dealer near you at atturo.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Sam Bennett, set to be an unrestricted free agent, has now scored in 6 consecutive games on the road, an NHL record 13 for the Stanley Cup playoffs. That was the second goal late in the first period. Marchand had opened the scoring midway through. Draisaitl off the draw, tried to power toward the net. He and McDavid are together 5-on-5. We'll see whether that sticks for the remainder of the hockey game, with Edmonton trailing 2-0. Bouchard to drive, deflected off a leg in front. Forsling ties up McDavid. Draisaitl tripped up. Bobrovsky able to shovel it to Sasha Barkov, who took a big hit and got it ahead for Sam Reinhart, who tapped it back to center ice. Fired back in by Draisaitl. Bobrovsky got a piece picked up by Evander Kane, the third member of this line featuring McDavid and Draisaitl, as the puck is wedged successfully down the middle, and Florida goes to work in the offensive zone with Verhaeghe and Reinhart on the right-hand side. Kane is able to clear. Bouchard activates, moves it for Leon Draisaitl, but his intended pass for Evander Kane is flipped out by Verhaeghe. Big hit on Reinhart, who shoots it behind the Edmonton net. Line change for both clubs with 7.5 to go in the second period. Florida maintains a 2-0 lead. This series tied at 2 games apiece. Game 6 will be Tuesday night in Sunrise at 6:20 Mountain Time. Bob and I will have it for you on the Oilers Radio Network. Connor Brown and Vasily Podkolzin trying to follow up a dump in, but Florida able to clear. Lundell to Brad Marchand, who got tied up at center, scored his 10th goal in the Stanley Cup Final earlier in this hockey game. Florida's gotten the first goal in 4 straight games in this series. Here's Nico Mikkola off an Edmonton dump in to Seth Jones. On to Marchand. He'll cut to his left. roll his way through the middle at center ice, and eventually shoot from distance. And Pickard makes the save on just Florida's second shot of the period. High slot Schmidt, one-timer Jones, and that was towed aside by Pickard. Rebound available. Here's Nate Schmidt picking it up for Sam Bennett. He waits and dishes off to Rodriguez. Behind the net, poked free by Stetcher. Brown lumbers after the puck and clears. Jeff Skinner forechecking up ice, but it's down the middle for Rodriguez. Passed off to Bennett. One-timer Kachuk and a save made by Pickard. I don't think Rodriguez realized how much room he had in the middle. Bob, if he takes it to the hole, he might have a breakaway. Here's Nate Schmidt. To Kulikov. Scrambles his way to center and fires it in. Nurse is able to cut it off over to Stetcher up the right-hand side with 6 minutes to go in period 2. Rolled off the skate of Nurse, tossed back in by Kachuk, and it's a line change for the Florida Panthers under Paul Maurice, looking for a second consecutive Stanley Cup. Gustav Forsling to Ekblad. He'll shoot it in for the Panthers. Climbed off the plexi. Stetcher unable to get it out. Panthers forced it to the Oiler goal line. Nurse is there. Back to Stetcher, entangled with Nosek up the left-hand side, and worked back in for Gadjevich. He's got it right circle. Feeds the net. And a shot by Ekblad is covered by Calvin Pickard with 5:31 to play in period 2. The Panthers finally able to work the offensive zone for the first time in 10 minutes of this second period, but it's Florida maintaining a lead in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. If the Panthers win, they have an opportunity to close it out at home on Tuesday night. They're 25 minutes away from doing that. 5.5 to go, period 2. It's 2-0 for Florida. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Get paid to stay with Edmonton's Best Hotels. Book through edmontonsbesthotels.com and receive up to $225 in gas, meal, or cash cards. There's over 52 hotels to choose from. Edmonton's Best Hotels. Get paid to stay.
Did you hear what happened to Rick while he was building his fence?
Yeah, he hit a natural gas line. They had to evacuate his entire neighborhood at dinner time, too. I bet he didn't make any new friends that day.
It cost him a ton to get the line repaired. I wonder why he didn't get his underground utilities marked.
Don't be that person. If you're digging on your property, request a locate for natural gas lines. It's free and can prevent serious injury or financial loss. And you won't upset the neighbors. Visit clickbeforeyoudig.com. A safety message brought to you by ATCO.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the screen. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers.
737373, Pizza 73. Get paid to stay with Edmonton's Best Hotels. Book through edmontonsbesthotels.com and receive up to $225 in gas, meal, or cash cards. There's over 52 hotels to choose from. Edmonton's Best Hotels. Get paid to stay.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Florida Panthers in games 5 and 7 of the Toronto series in the second round won by identical scores of 6-1, and both of those games were in Toronto, including game 7. Off the draw in the Edmonton zone, Carter Verhaeghe. Here in game 5 in Edmonton, Florida, a disappointing result in game 4 where they blew a 3-goal lead on home ice. Well, they bounced back with a vintage performance here in game 5. Long way to the finish line, though. Remember, the Oilers have 8 come-from-behind victories, matching a franchise record in the playoffs this year. Reinhart and Barkov continue to work the cycle. Finally, it's broken up by Henrique. Skinner spun and tried to hit Henrique, but that pass a little too difficult. Skinner perhaps making a more difficult play than he needed to right there, and it's icing against Edmonton.
To give any kind of chance for Edmonton tonight, they cannot give up another goal in this period. They're not coming back from 3-0 down. They got to find a way. This
Lundell.
is an important shift here because the third line's been the top line tonight for Florida, 5-8-5.
Lundell won the face-off. Forsling to Ekblad. Marchand a one-timer, and that was blocked by Wallman. Walman, the league leader in blocks during the Stanley Cup playoffs, advanced through to Jeff Skinner. He'll flip it in and head for the bench. Frederick lost the handle, and the Panthers will break out here. Up the left-hand side, that's going to be cut off by Bouchard. Quickly on to Draisaitl, and now McDavid over the line, broken up. Well read by Gustav Forsling as he put it down the middle. A rolling puck scooped up by Bouchard with 4:20 remaining in the second period. The Oilers trail 2-0. This is Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final with a series tied at 2 games apiece. Bouchard up the middle, broken up by Sam Bennett. At center ice, he's reeled in by Corey Perry. Moving over to make a play on the puck is Matthew Tkachuk. He'll shovel it in. Up the right-hand side, Bouchard. Cross ice, Perry. Grabbed by Ekholm. He'll steer to the red line and on to Draisaitl to Perry. A wrist shot, and he put it out of play. That puck rolling, and Perry got it up on the heel of his stick and threw it out of play. Corey Perry tonight plays his 236th career Stanley Cup playoff game, and that matches the all-time great Mark Messier. The only 3 guys who've played more in the history of the game: Chris Chelios, Nicholas Lidstrom, and Patrick Waugh. That's pretty heady company.
And you know what's crazy about that is you think of 2 defensemen and how many hits the defensemen of that era absorbed on teams that were trying to get,
Well, Chelios was just a different kind of human, and so was Lidstrom. Chelios played until he was your age, Bob. Face off to Bobrovsky's left-hand side. Here's Connor McDavid. Behind the net, Draisaitl. Up the right-hand side, Reinhart. Off the stick of Evan Bouchard. Tracking him down is Carter Verhaeghe. That's settled down by Sasha Barkov. Left-hand side, open man is Mikkola. He'll wind it along looking for Verhaeghe, but it's intercepted by Bouchard. McDavid and Draisaitl are still on the ice, and it's Draisaitl who will break the puck out with McDavid alongside. Ekholm hits the line, and off-balance Arvidsson does well to just control and keep it in for McDavid. Ekholm, however, misses Draisaitl. Sam Reinhart pestered by Arvidsson, and now Bouchard moves to the middle of the ice for Ekholm. Showing shot, now letting one fly, and that rebound came off the glass for Arvidsson. Sifted back, Bouchard. One-timer Ekholm and a save, Sergei Bobrovsky, and that's what he needed because Edmonton had Florida in the spin cycle there. 2:58 to go in the second period. But again, you look up at the shot clock, and the Oilers have mustered just 11 against Sergei Bobrovsky. Half of Bobrovsky's shutouts have come in this postseason. For his career, he's got 6 in the playoffs. He's 59-50. Here in this postseason, he could tie a league record with his 10th win on the road and record his 4th shutout in the process. 23 minutes away from doing that, which can be an eternity against this Edmonton team. Nugent Hopkins with McDavid and Draisaitl reunited on a line with Evander Kane and Connor Brown. Sent in deep, Kulikov with Kane on him, got it past him easily. Up through center, Lundell. Brown able to take control for Edmonton. Troy Stetcher lifts it successfully out of the zone, won't be icing. Kane able to skate into it, but Schmidt and Kulikov track him, force him to give it up. Marchand with a chance to clear to Nate Schmidt dangerously in front of his own net a second time, and this time Marchand successfully gets it to Lundell, who's able to power it into the offensive zone. Boy, Anton Lundell is just so solid. Darnell Nurse, Marchand threw him a grenade there, and Lundell was able to fight off a couple of Oilers and still get it in deep. Edmonton, as a result, must reset. Here's Walman looking for Podkolzin, broken up, intended for Janmark. Less than 2 minutes to play, and Jonah Gadjevich will send it in. Late second period. Edmonton on the short end of a 2-0 score. Dashing over to take Edmonton's clear is Aaron Ekblad. Angled off the boards and touched on by A.J. Greer as Paul Maurice continues to shuffle 4 lines. A centering pass by Greer glanced off the side of the net, and now you've got Frederick. He's bothered by Nosek in front of the Florida bench and then hit a lead pass to Janmark. But Bobrovsky read it and put it into the corner. Held in by Podkolzin. Behind the net, Sam Bennett snatched it away from Janmark, but too much on that clear, and that'll be icing against Bennett and an opportunity for Edmonton's top players off the icing call to get an ozone draw with a healthy minute 16 remaining in the second period. And what a lift it would be were the Oilers to get on the board here, kind of change the whole atmosphere in the building. And recognizing that, Chris Knobloch goes with his best. Draisaitl, McDavid, Perry, Ekholm, and Bouchard. Face off to Bobrovsky's right-hand side. Draisaitl won it against Rodriguez. Here's Ekholm steering it to McDavid. Backdoor to Ekholm, and he couldn't handle it, then fired from an awkward angle. And that clipped off the glass and out of play, and that will allow Florida to shuffle the deck. So the Panthers get a break there with a minute 7 remaining in the second period. Nothing changes for the Oilers. Face off to the right of Sergei Bobrovsky. At 36, remember,
he didn't become Bob the goalie in the playoffs.
Last 3 years.
Last 3 years, so he was 34.
He was 17 and 29 going into the 23 playoffs, and he was the backup to Alex Lyon as those playoffs began. Came on, helped Florida upset 65-win Boston, and he's been Bob ever since. Here's Ekholm with a drive right circle off the draw, save made by Bobrovsky. Chip past Draisaitl, but not Ekholm with less than a minute to go in the period. Seth Jones wanders over. Panthers had a chance to get it out, and Jones finally did, nudging it as far as the red line. Ekholm had his pocket picked, and Barkov made sure to get it in deep. Since 23, Bobrovsky has gone 42 and 21 in the postseason and won a Stanley Cup, of course. Reinhart thought he was chopped down. Florida bench unhappy with an on-call. Ekholm will thrust it up to center with 25 seconds to go in the period, and now a high stick will be whistled against Draisaitl. Bennett wanders in. His shot turned aside by Pickard, but a high stick on Leon Draisaitl. Kulikov draws another penalty. He's done that a couple of times in this series.
Oh, it looks like it's
no, it's only a 2. 20 seconds to go.
For a high stick.
And Florida will get a power play. And what this does, of course, is put Edmonton in a defensive posture to start the third period. And when you're down 2-0, Bob, that's not your ideal mindset.
To say the least. Well, right now, you just got to get a D-zone draw and get that puck out of the zone.
McDavid and Draisaitl played a lot in the last 4 minutes, and you wonder whether that penalty is a product of a little bit of fatigue down the stretch.
Leon thought Kulikov sold it, but he had a stick up.
Off the draw, Oilers have taken 14 high-sticking penalties in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Florida has taken 2. Nurse off the draw. Bennett tried to center. That's intercepted, and Janmark will drill it the length of the ice, and the Florida Panthers will settle for a 2-0 lead heading to the final 20 minutes. Tkachuk fires into Pickard's midsection at the horn, and the Panthers will try to close it out. Now, in Game 1, Edmonton became the first team to beat a Paul Maurice-coached Florida Panther club when trailing after 2 periods. The Panthers had ripped off 30 consecutive victories before that game. And, of course, in Game 4, while the Oilers didn't trail after 2 periods, they trailed 3-0 after 1 and battled back to win also in overtime. So there is precedence here, Bob. And it's only a 2-goal lead. It's not a 3-goal lead. But first things first, you got to kill it off or your hill becomes that much bigger.
Yeah, that's a given. And I think you just got to tip your hat. This has been a clinic from Florida. They've come in here, and to me, it was all their third line. Every time they were on the ice in the first period, Lundell, Marchand, and Lil Starinen were, creating opportunities. And frankly, they missed 2 open nets. Now, Edmonton did have 2 chances early. Brown on a partial breakaway, and then McDavid with 2 chances in around the net. And right now, goalie Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky, looks like he's got it locked down. Edmonton's at 11 shots, Jack. To me, the only way they can win this game is if they get to...
They got to double it for sure.
They got to get to...
They got to get at least 11 shots in the final period. Yep. And ideally, you'd think to beat Bobrovsky twice, they might need 14 or so. So,
yep, lots of work.
And Edmonton trailing 2-0. Now here's, again, the drill. The Oilers, when trailing after 2 periods, it's remarkable. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, they're 4-5. They're nearly a 500 club when they're down after 40. That's usually a closeout situation. But again, Edmonton has tied a club record with 8 comeback wins in these playoffs, and both of their Stanley Cup final victories have come in situations where they were down 3-1 and 3-0 respectively. Marchand and Bennett were the only 2 goals of the hockey game, and they both came in the first period. Marchand from Lundell at 9:12, Bennett from Tkachuk at 18:06. A reminder, your 50-50 jackpots are sitting at $6.7 million, and the playoff bonus jackpot is over 10.5 schmil. So get involved with your Oilers 50-50 right here, right now is the time. It'll be a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill for the Oilers to open period 3, as Leon Draisaitl will be serving a high sticking minor for the first minute 40 of the final period, as Game 5 reads Florida 2, Edmonton no score, with the series tied at 2 games apiece, and the Panthers 20 minutes away from having a chance to hoist their 2nd consecutive Stanley Cup on home ice Tuesday night in Sunrise. But that's Tuesday. There's still lots of Saturday night hockey left at Rogers Place. Bryn and Rob straight ahead. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers Radio Network.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the street. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers. 737373, Pizza 73.
It's our YEG with 880 Chad.
Saddle up for the 72nd Wainwright Stampede, June 20th to 22nd. Enjoy high-stakes rodeo action, WPCA chuck wagon races, pancake breakfasts, and more. Tickets at WainwrightStampede.com. Then get revved up for the ultimate showdown as high-powered machines tear up the dirt oval at Rad Torque Raceway, June 20th and 21st with the Western Cup. Info and tickets at radraceway.com.
For details on these and more events, visit 880ched.com. At the Intermission, brought to you by Hand of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Quickly sent up ice to McDavid. A one-touch on to Connor Brown. Left wing against Kulikov. On the puck now, Leon Draisaitl. A one-timer at Coleman. That's speared by Bobrovsky with 8:32 to play in the second period.
And that's our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and right next door to the Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the Winter Zone. Welcome to the second intermission. Bryn Griffiths and Rob Brown with you at Rogers Place after 40 minutes of play. The Florida Panthers hanging on to that 2-0 lead. I would say comfortably, Rob.
Well, as comfortable as you can be with a 2-0 lead in a Stanley Cup game, series-changing game. The Florida Panthers, as Bob said, they have played a fantastic hockey game.
Yep.
The Oilers, through 40 minutes, have 11 shots on net, and that includes 3 power plays.
That should be the power play total with this team, the way their power play usually works.
Well, yeah, the Oilers power play, I mean, the first 2 power plays, it really didn't generate a whole lot. The third power play, they got a couple looks, but not getting anything clean. This Florida Panthers penalty killing unit is so aggressive, and you can beat it, but you need to make 3 extremely clean passes. They have to be tape to tape and quick. If there's any bobble or any hesitation, well, now you've allowed the Florida Panthers to attack the next player. And for the few times, and it has been relatively few times tonight that the Florida Panthers have made a mistake. Bobrovsky has been there, but Bob and Jack talked at the end of the period. You're not going to score, they need 2 goals in the third period. You're not going to score that on 11 shots. You need more opportunities. You got to go bulk on Sergei Bobrovsky. He is the best goalie in the world right now. He can be beat, but not with outside shots, not without bodies in front, people in the blue paint. The Oilers have played 40 minutes, and it has not been their best 40 minutes. And they need to play their best 20 minutes coming up here, or they're going to find themselves going to Florida trailing in this series.
Not like they make it easy.
They don't.
You know, it's been fun to watch, but it's been nerve-wracking to watch. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, the stress level in Edmonton is quite high.
Yes.
In these last, 2 weeks, the Oilers are capable of coming back and winning this hockey game.
Sure.
But it starts with one goal. If there's one goal, then that gets the crowd back into it. It gets the bench into it, and now there's a little bit more stress on the Florida Panthers bench. Now, you just talked about comfortably. Now, I don't know if it's comfortable for the Florida Panthers, but there hasn't been stress. And I think that's really key, is when there's stress in a game, that's when you make mistakes. That's when someone will fan on a shot, or he'll muff a pass, or he'll overskate a puck. But right now, there has been no stress on Florida. They've had this 2-0 lead for a while. The Oilers haven't really had a lot of pressure on them. The outside of when Connor and Leon are together, the next three lines really haven't generated a whole lot. So it's just been a stress-free game, and you can't have those in the Stanley Cup Finals. I can tell you this, the Edmonton Oilers defense have been under stress most of this game.
Oh, yeah.
And so has Calvin Pickard. So the Oilers need to put more stress on the Florida Panthers, and they do get pucks in deep, get forecheck going. But so far, what has happened through the first 40 minutes, the Florida Panthers have controlled playing the offensive zone. That by the time the Oilers get it out, they're just dumping it out and changing. And then the next wave of Florida Panthers comes. So the Oilers need to have some momentum-changing shifts. They haven't had a whole lot of those.
Found a better word than comfortable, methodical.
That is, yes.
Okay, that's
100%.
The more
yes.
I think about it, it's just like everything is working exactly how they want it to.
And it's funny, and to talk about methodical is they're in layers. So if, let's say, for example, Forsling pinches on a forward of the Oilers on Podkolzin. Podkolzin gets it past him. Well, already you got Ekblad there. He's the next layer. And when Ekblad gets there, all of a sudden he can turn. He's got Bennett, who's already standing, waiting for him for the outlet pass. So you don't see the Oilers get a puck pass, and all of a sudden they've got odd man break because there's layers of the Florida Panthers. When Connor McDavid comes out, I got past Tkachuk. Okay, here's Bennett. Now I put it up to Draisaitl. Well, now he's got Forsling on him. He gets by Forsling. Well, now there's Ekblad. So it's not, the Florida Panthers do not play you one-on-one. And a great example was late in the period. Now, it ended up being a penalty on Ekblad, but Kane's coming down. Both Ekblad and the other defenseman, I can't remember who it was, they both went to Kane. They're like, you know what? You're going to have to get it through both of us. That's just the way the Panthers play. They're that ultra-aggressive, and thus far through 40 minutes has been very effective.
The Oilers were just slightly over 30% with in the face-off circle, up to 47%. But it's, you know what, when you get the man advantage, you got to win those draws. And they've been losing too many, and then the ones they've won have gone right between the two defensemen. Yeah. It's been that kind of night. It
has been. Normally, I would say that the Oilers are probably about 80% on face-offs when they're on the power play.
Generally, absolutely.
They rarely lose it. But they're playing against a Bennett, a Lindell, a Barkov, fantastic centerman, and they also understand the importance as a penalty killer of winning a face-off. This whole third period, it will be dictated by the first minute 40. The Oilers have to kill this penalty off. It's one thing to be down 3 with 40 minutes to go. It's another thing to be down 3 with under 19 minutes to go in a hockey game. So the Oilers penalty killing that has not had a great postseason needs to come up with a huge, huge kill to start this third period. Or the Edmonton Oilers mountain or hill will become a mountain because the Florida Panthers may have learned their lesson on 3-goal leads. I'm not sure they're going to blow a 3-goal lead in the third period. So the Oilers need to kill this off.
Florida also seen the beginning to all those loose pucks first. Those battles, they've got to start winning more of those battles.
Well, they do, and it just, to me, it's fatigue. The Oilers defending, it's harder to defend to be on offense. When the Oilers are in their own zone for 45 seconds on a shift, they're exhausted. Yeah. So every time they're racing to a puck, they're one step behind, and then that just error turns into error, and all of a sudden you ice it, or you dump and change, and then here they come again. So the Oilers got to be much better. They got to get the puck out cleaner. They haven't done that tonight.
I have to say it this way, but we'll see you at the next intermission or on the post game, because you never know how it's going to shake down here. At the Intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back with Encore by Epcor. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
RS Breakers and Controls, Canada's leader in new, used, tested, and obsolete circuit breakers, MCC buckets, bus plugs, and switches. They have everything you need to maintain your aging electrical infrastructure, ensuring it operates as good as new. Their 24/7 emergency response gets you back up and running quickly, saving valuable time and money. Minimal generators or modifications needed, and like-for-like replacements mean no special inspections. Don't replace, repair your legacy equipment with RS. Visit rsbreakers.com.
With Global News, I'm Thomas Dias. The most powerful man in the world who wants to make Canada a part of the United States will be right here in Alberta tomorrow for the G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis. But ahead of that, President Donald Trump and members of his cabinet saluted tanks, troops, and marching bands at a military parade in Washington today, commemorating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army on a day that happened to fall on Trump's 79th birthday. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of Americans around that country were busy countering the military pageantry by displaying another kind of power, peaceful protest. It's estimated there were 2,000 protests of all sizes in every state denouncing the Republican president as a would-be king or dictator. When it comes to the G7, former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien told a Calgary panel on Thursday that if Trump does have an outburst, the other leaders should ignore him and, quote, keep talking normally. News on demand at 880ched.com.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with... And Oilers win! Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey folks, Paul Brandt here. Around these parts, we work hard, play hard, and we demand the best. Sometimes you need a truck that's a cut above. The Ford Super Duty. Tough enough for any job with the style and luxury you deserve. It's as powerful as
Pros Go. Pros Go. For a location near you, visit mic.ca.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with...
Brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Well, here we go. 2 games in the CFL today, and they've both wrapped up. Calgary Stampeders knocking off the defending Grey Cup champion Argonauts at home this afternoon, 29-19. And this one just wrapped up a few minutes ago. Saskatchewan Roughriders hanging on, and they were hanging on towards the end to beat the Tiger Cats in Hamilton 28-23. Elks' first home game of the season goes Thursday night. The Montreal Alouettes will be in town, and we'll have all the action for you right here on 880 Ched. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. The third period, and it's going to be a tense one, is up next. At the Intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Steelhaus Triton, 2 legendary oilfield services brands, 1 powerful partnership. Rooted in innovation, reliability, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, Steelhaus is proudly 100% Canadian-owned and locally manufactured. With over 15 field service locations across the prairies and up to the Rockies, they deliver world-class energy solutions with unmatched responsiveness, helping their customers thrive in the most demanding environments. Steelhaus Triton, engineered for performance, built in Canada. Visit steelhausinc.com for more information.
Experience the exciting casino action at 3 Century Casino locations. Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Dine at one of their amazing restaurants featuring daily specials. Take in the ultimate game day experience at the all-new Selly Sports Bar and Lounge. Check out the best in live entertainment at any amazing location. Plus, enjoy a great selection of casino gaming options and off-track betting. Feel the thrill of live horse racing at Century Mile Racetrack. Don't miss a second of the action at Century Casino.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
The Edmonton Oilers will be shorthanded as we begin this third period. High atop Rogers Place from your Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. The only 2 goals of this hockey game came in the first period. Marchand from Lundell off a face-off that Florida actually lost. Marchand jumped into the seam, split the Oiler defense, and scored at 9:12 of the first period. And that was followed late in the period after a failed Edmonton power play that did nothing. Sam Bennett off a Matthew Tkachuk rebound was able to bury his Stanley Cup playoff leading 15th goal of the postseason, 13 of which have come on the road. It's stayed 2-0 ever since. And the Panthers, as previously mentioned on the power play to start the third, coming right to left in their white sweaters. And off the face-off, won by Barkov, Florida looks to set up. Janmark, who lost that draw, Connor Brown, Ekholm, and Bouchard are your Napa Auto Parts penalty-killing foursome. And Bouchard will have a chance to clear, which he does, launching it up the gut. And sent in for Sergei Bobrovsky to handle the puck. Opening minute, third period. Oilers hearing it from the sellout crowd, who has not been given much to cheer about tonight. Just 11 shots on net for Edmonton against Bobrovsky through 2 periods. Barkov put it behind Matthew Tkachuk. High slot, Sam Reinhart. Right circle. Florida 7 power play goals in the series after going 1 for 35 in the previous 2 Stanley Cup finals. But an errant pass to Matthew Tkachuk, and Kulak is able to jam it in deep. And in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year, Florida entered tonight 41% on the man advantage. Almost as good on the road as the Oilers have been at home on the power play. Kulak slammed it back the other way after a weak Florida dump in, and the Panthers are essentially down to their last rush here on the power play. Less than 30 seconds on the man advantage as it's punched forward by Carter Verhaeghe. Sprinting over is Ekholm, desperately trying to hold the zone, but Schmidt fails to do it. And as we go down to 15 seconds, Schmidt is able to gather in front of Bobrovsky. Florida might be losing some momentum here on this power play, much as Edmonton did in the first when they failed to generate anything. Verhaeghe left circle. Sam Bennett powers a shot on net, a save Pickard, and the rebound scooped up and cleared by Nugent Hopkins, trying to hit Draisaitl, coming out of the box, on to McDavid, cuts to his left, McDavid, drop pass, and Arvidsson could not handle it cleanly. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Arvidsson out on the ice, but McDavid will exit. Draisaitl fresh out of the box, hits Podkolzin, cross ice feed, and that misfired on a pass intended for Troy Stetcher. Forced back in by Edmonton. Forsling on the puck for Florida. Lead pass right-hand side, spilled in by Luostarinen. Banged into Pickard. Will put it up the left-hand side. On the puck, Adam Henrique. Stripped by Luostarinen. He's got it. One hands it behind the net to Marchand to remember open the scoring. With his 10th career goal in the Stanley Cup final at age 37. Marchand won it in 2011, his first full year in the National Hockey League. Then lost the 2013 and 2019 finals in Boston. Oilers able to get it in deep, but Colson crashes into Seth Jones. Sam Reinhart. Lou Osterinen looked to back off and get it out, but couldn't. Connor Brown to Ekholm, showing shot, trying to get around Kulikov. Picked off by Barkov and gathered and shoveled up to Sam Reinhart. 17 minutes to go. Reinhart will get it in deep. Reinhart had a goal and an assist in the Thursday loss to Edmonton. He, of course, scored the game winner in Game 7 last year. Bouchard launches one up the left-hand side. Nate Schmidt able to collect. Pitchfork back in by Verhaeghe. Matthias Ekholm gave it back to Verhaeghe at center. He'll fire it in deep. Florida line change.
Oilers have had 3 chances to put pucks in the net. Haven't been able to.
3.5 gone by in the second period. Oilers pumped it back into the offensive zone, and Gustav Forsling will ice the puck. That was a strange decision by Forsling to just hammer it up the left wing boards. Tkachuk was nowhere near the wall and had no conceivable play.
Jack, I think the Oilers got to show greater desperation with their shot selection. You're down 2-0. You got 11 shots on goal, 43 minutes into this game. Can't pass off anything. Get it to the net. Attack the net, create chaos.
Draisaitl, McDavid, and Perry out. Face-off won by Draisaitl. Wallman tried to scoot it across, and that was deflected, and Wallman will collect back in his own blue line. Jake Wallman put Edmonton ahead 4-3 late in Game 4. Reinhart tied it with less than 20 seconds to go, and Draisaitl won it in overtime. And here he steamrolls Aaron Ekblad on his way to the corner. Forsling to Tkachuk, on to Sam Bennett, and here come the Panthers, right to left. The defending Stanley Cup champions. On the puck is Rodriguez, centering pass, and that sails out. Seth Jones kept it alive for Bennett. On his backhandle, shovel it down low. Rodriguez let it go through to Brad Marchand. Mikkola steps up, and the puck nudged in front, taken by Wallman. Collects himself and then finds Kulak. The outlet to Leon Draisaitl. Hits the line, but he faked a pass to Perry, and that drew McDavid offside. 4 1/2 gone by. Third period, and the Oilers do not have a shot. Of course, they had to kill off a minute 40 to start the period. But as Bob indicated, you can't expect to beat Sergei Bobrovsky if you can't get more than 20 shots on net. Sergei Bobrovsky, a goaltender who's under 500 in games 4 through 7 for his career, as opposed to 35 and 25 in the first 3 games of the series. Oilers banging in off the draw. Fourth line out for Florida. Arvidsson against Greer, and a nice poke check by Tomas Nosek creates for Greer down the left-hand side, and the puck muscled in deep. Gadjevich comes in, tries to finish his check on Nugent Hopkins. It's wrapped around the boards. Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, coming into this game with a record of 19-2. Starting from Game 4 onward in the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is a puck that disappears into the Florida bench, and one of those 2 losses, of course, last year, Game 7 of the final in Sunrise. Game 6 will be played in Sunrise. If Game 7 is necessary, it'll be played back here at Rogers Place on Friday night.
Well, the Oilers don't have a lot going. They're going to have to dig in here.
But what they do have is 15 minutes with which to operate. Skinner, Henrique, and Frederick come on. Neutral zone face-off, won by Lundell. Mikkola and Jones trade the puck. It's Mikkola up the left-hand side. Lou Osterinen gets it in deep. No, he didn't. He didn't touch that puck, Bob, so it's an icing call against Florida. And Edmonton trying to take advantage of every mistake Florida makes. They'll get McDavid and Draisaitl out there for ozone draws. Now, of course, in this situation, Florida hasn't been out a great deal of time. So they're not getting an exhausted unit out there, but nonetheless, Draisaitl with an ozone start to the right of Sergei Bobrovsky. Lundell on the face-off for Florida. Marchand had a chance to clear, and it's waved at and moved up by Lou Osterinen. Marchand ducks inside Wallman to the net. Backhander score! 3-0 Florida. Brad Marchand, second of the game, 6th of the series, and 10th of the playoffs.
Scored 2 goals off of sequences where Edmonton Edmonton won the faceoffs. One in the neutral ice and one back in the D zone. And Brad Marchand, he has been unreal. I mean, that's just a one-man goal. And he skates through Wallman and Bouchard, who have not played a lot together.
Luostarinen was the trigger man. And then Marchand finishes. And I know the Conn Smythe is for the winner of the overall Stanley Cup playoffs, but right now, the best player in the Stanley Cup final has been Brad Marchand.
It has been.
Oilers down 3-0. Kulak off the center ice draw, moves it to Ekholm. His shot blocked by Ekblad. We'll see how Florida handles this and whether the Panthers get conservative. Ekholm slide step to his left. A shot fought off by Bobrovsky. Rebound, Podkolzin. Edmonton's desperation level. Must reach massive heights right now. Barkov peels away from Frederick and guides one in from center. Luostarinen credited with the lone assist. Pickard gives way to Kulak under pressure from Matthew Tkachuk. Wallman, a strike to the middle, fed along, a tough one bouncer handled by Bobrovsky up the left-hand side for Schmidt onto Rodriguez, and Tkachuk makes certain of a clear inside the Edmonton line. Nurse bottled up as he tried to move it. Kulikov may be guilty of an icing here. No, they'll wave it off. It drops dead at the goal line. Wallman was checked by Bennett. Over to Darnell Nurse. Middle of the ice, Connor Brown breaks loose. Brown pulls up, left wing. Out there with the Janmark and Skinner. Onto Wallman to drive. A save, Bobrovsky. Rebound down and out was Bobrovsky, but there's that man again. Brad Marchand comes up with a puck. Skates down the left wing. Again to the middle this time. He coughs it up. A steal by Brown. Slithers one ahead for Connor McDavid. He's by Seth Jones. A backhander on net. A save made by Bobrovsky. Draisaitl with a rebound in his grasp. 7 minutes gone by, third period. Florida has built its lead to 3-0. Corey Perry cut off in the middle by Seth Jones, and a toss inside the Oiler blue line. Jones and Perry were briefly teammates on the Chicago Blackhawks, remember, last year. Bouchard to Leon Draisaitl, left wing for Ekholm. He'll wind it around for Perry. Lets it go through to Bouchard. Right point on to Connor McDavid. A one-timer by Bouchard. Got through. A save Bobrovsky. McDavid feeds Ekholm on to Bouchard. Steps up back to McDavid. To the net. Scores! Before the game, Connor McDavid has never gone an entire series without at least one goal. Kept it alive for Ekholm, got back up, received a pass from Bouchard, and faked Bobrovsky out of his equipment to score to pull Edmonton within 3-1, and still 12 and a half minutes remain.
All it took was Edmonton to make about 6 great passes on the play.
Starting with McDavid off balance. Bouchard and Ekholm will draw the assists on McDavid's 7th goal of the playoffs and his 33rd point. His first goal this series, and we've got a hockey game. 3-1 Florida. Still 12 and a half remaining. Draisaitl on for a face-off against Alexander Barkov, and he won it, pulled it back. Well, the Oilers pulled themselves out of a 3-0 hole on Thursday night in Florida. 40 minutes were left in that game. When McDavid scored, 12 and a half remained in this one. McDavid's back on the ice with Draisaitl, swooping at center, dropping it off for Bouchard. Florida defends the line. Arvidsson breaks loose a drive, and that missed high glove. Rebound Ekholm. He fired, and that was blocked and sails out of play into the Florida bench. 12:08 remaining third period. Crowd is alive. Game 5 remains very much within striking distance. The Florida Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champions 3. The Edmonton Oilers 1. And this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. Our live coverage of Game 5 continues in just a moment. The Oilers Radio Network.
RS Breakers and Controls, Canada's leader in new, used, tested, and obsolete circuit breakers, MCC buckets, bus plugs, and switches. They have everything you need to maintain your aging electrical infrastructure, ensuring it operates as good as new. Their 20 24/7 emergency response gets you back up and running quickly, saving valuable time and money. Minimal generators or modifications needed. And like-for-like replacements mean no special inspections. Don't replace. Repair your legacy equipment with RS. Visit rsbreakers.com.
Businesses deserve the best protection against cyber threats. Alltech offers state-of-the-art IT and cybersecurity solutions to safeguard digital assets. The team of experts at Alltech are dedicated to providing the highest level of security, ensuring that data remains safe and operations are seamless. With Alltech, businesses can focus on growth while the rest is handled. From advanced threat detection to comprehensive data security, Alltech has it covered. Choose Alltech for reliable and effective cybersecurity. Visit alt-tech.ca now to learn more.
Hockey season is back. And so are the deals at Boston Pizza. Cheer on your team while ordering off their game day menu, or come in and see what great promotions they have going on. At Boston Pizza, they always have something craveable for you to enjoy. Boston Pizza, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Cheers to a great hockey season.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry come out of the television timeout for an ozone draw, and we're going to see a lot of that down the stretch. Ekholm and Bouchard defensively as the Oilers understandably loading up here, trying to dig their way out of a 3-0 hole. McDavid has gotten one back, but off the draw, Jones up to Sam Reinhart. He'll shoot it in. Carter Verhaeghe freeing it up for Barkov behind the net. Verhaeghe. Crowd is alive. Centering pass. Reinhart, a wrist shot, score. And Florida regains a 3-goal lead. Reinhart quiets the crowd from the left circle with a rim job. His 7th of the playoffs. And Pickard, I'm not sure, ever saw that puck. 4-1 Florida, 11:50 to play.
You're right, Jack. A double screen there from the Edmonton Oilers, but the Florida Panthers, Barkov wins a puck battle down low. Verhaeghe with the flyby on the net front. It's 4-1.
You know, the one thing about the way Game 3 devolved, Bob, was it got Reinhart off the schneid. And I thought that might have been dangerous. And the way Reinhart can shoot it, a guy with 96 goals over his last 2 regular seasons, you get him going if you're Florida, and it's an added weapon. Marchand off the center ice draw, moves in from the right-hand side. Here's Evander Kane, lead pass broken up at center. So the Florida Panthers, less than a minute, Bob, 46 seconds after the goal from McDavid, able to get back on top 4-1. Now Matthew Tkachuk in on the forecheck along the end boards, crowding the Edmonton zone, creating for Rodriguez. Left circle shot, save, Pickard, rebound snatched away by Nugent Hopkins. Up to Evander Kane, off the boards and out. That will be played by Schmidt ahead of Arvidsson. And Dmitry Kulikov, originally a first-round pick of the Panthers, now in a second stint with the team, shoveling it back through center. Here's Bouchard. Around the right-hand side. Came off a Reinhart stick. Here's Evander Kane. His shot deflects and ends up rocketing out of play with 10:45 remaining in this third period. So now,
through 50 minutes, there's no question who the better team's been tonight.
The Oilers trail 4-1.
And Brad Marchand's been the best player in this series. And that's saying something, because Bennett's been pretty good too, Jack.
And Draisaitl has 2 overtime winners.
Yes.
So it is saying something. Shoveled out. Played up the right-hand side by Bouchard, who seemingly has not come off the ice here in the third period. Seth Jones with a turnover. Connor Brown a steal in the right corner. 10.5 to go. Here's Jeff Skinner. Cross-ice pass, tipped. Jake Wallman, crowded by Nico Mikkola. Reinhart off balance, and it's Carter Verhaeghe chipping and charging in. Taken away by Bouchard, and he'll pull up behind his own net. Midway point of the third period, crowd desperately urging the Oilers on. But that goal by Reinhart could be a backbreaker. Edmonton has been so resilient. They'll have to summon just about everything. Draisaitl to Darnell Nurse. McDavid had his pocket picked by Luo Storinen, who, as Bob has mentioned, part of that third line for Florida that's been so devastating to Edmonton's chances in this series.
They're deeper at forward than Edmonton, especially with no Zach Hyman.
And that's saying something considering Edmonton's had 14 forwards get on the board in the Stanley Cup playoffs. As Bob mentioned, no Hyman for this series. Here's Ekblad. He was hurt in Game 4 of the Dallas series. Oilers were able to close out the Stars, but now they're 9 minutes away from facing elimination on Tuesday night. Evan Rodriguez lodging the puck along the end boards in the Edmonton zone. That's effective by Rodriguez, just draining clock, knowing the situation, forcing Nurse to finally pry it loose and regroup as Edmonton makes another change, and Florida gets McDavid and Draisaitl off the ice. Nurse on to Adam Henrique. Poke checked away by Seth Jones and funneled back in by Gadjevich. Calvin Pickard will send it up the right-hand boards. Shots on goal, 18-16 in favor of Florida. Jabbed in and a good play by Podkolzin, but Florida able to turn it back over a leaping Frederick, and Jake Wallman has to reset back inside the Edmonton line. Henrique slugs it back down low. Bobrovsky takes a peek. Kulikov to Gadjevich. Turns and fires a lateral over to A.J. Greer. He staggers his way to the red line. They'll give it to him as he drives it behind the Edmonton net. Pickard to Wallman. Launch back through the middle. Verhaeghe picks it off. Gustav Forsling slams it back in for Florida. Around the boards, Nugent Hopkins couldn't control. Rifled back behind the net by Verhaeghe, and more time lost. Kulak, lead pass, punch forward. Ekblad has it in his feet, flips it towards center, and Edmonton must regroup at its own blue line. Arvidsson shrugs off a check from Reinhart. Boy, that was a big goal by Reinhart. 46 seconds after Edmonton got this crowd engaged and pulled within 3-1. Reinhart has made it 4-1 as Bouchard races in. High slot, Nugent Hopkins tried to slither one down low to Evander Kane. Ekblad broke it up, and now Forsling with a steal in the middle of the ice onto Luo Storinen, who wisely just hoists it behind the Edmonton defense. 7.5 minutes remaining. Brad Marchand, who has scored twice in this game, unable to keep the puck in the zone, but Kane promptly gave it away to Lundell, and it's fired back in. And now Florida's in a real rhythm defensively, Bob. It's possible to get into a rhythm defensively as well as offensively. And the Panthers are one-handing pucks back through the middle and frustrating Edmonton and forcing the Oilers to go between 175 and 200 feet to beat them. Draisaitl, McDavid, cross ice, carried in by Wallman. No trip on the play. Mikula up the right-hand side, did not get it out. Tkachuk, and it's nudged just far enough for a pickup for Rodriguez. He took a punishing hit from Jeff Skinner, got it in deep. Now Sam Reinhart tied up in the corner. Wallman breaks away from traffic. As Bob mentioned early on in this game, Florida as good as it can play right now. Kulak a drive wide. Draisaitl couldn't get to the rebound, snagged by Reinhart and forced back through the middle. Another reset for Edmonton. Bouchard in his own zone. And now we're down to 6:25 left on the clock. Bouchard up the left-hand side. Janmark for a moment had a step, turned it over. A clear by Ekblad ahead to Gadjevich. And Florida in such a rhythm that they'll go ahead and roll out that fourth line with 6 minutes to go in the third period of a must-win for Florida. The Panthers looking to seize home ice advantage for the second time in this series. Nurse, lead pass too far. That's an icing call as Kulikov got ahead of Matthias Janmark, and now 5:58 remain in the third period, and Florida leads 4-1. And the Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, are less than 6 minutes away from having a chance to repeat on Tuesday night. This is exactly what happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 5 of that second-round series.
100%. This guy's a great road team.
Lundell wins the faceoff. If Florida closes it out, the Panthers will be 10-3 on the road. Remember, this is only the second time in the history of the Stanley Cup Final that two teams meet without having had home ice in any of the first 3 rounds. A weak shot from the right circle by Luostarinen is handled by Calvin Pickard, who has 14 stops tonight, but his team trails 4-1. 5:46 left in the third period. Edmonton will need one last push. Rogers Place, Game 5, the Stanley Cup Final continues with Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Did you know the RCMP polices over 99% of Alberta's landscape? From the oil sands to the Rockies to the prairies, the RCMP has a province covered. Providing policing services to more than 1,700 communities and with over 150 career specializations, the Alberta RCMP has something to fit everyone's goals and lifestyles. Visit rcmpcareers.ca and take the next step towards your career with the Alberta RCMP. A message from the Government of Canada.
Hey, Edmonton. Ever think about who gets your hard-earned money when you buy groceries or gas? For all you know, it could be buying a second yacht or private jet. But at Co-op, they put it right back into the community. That's because they're owned by 120,000 everyday Edmontonians, not a corporation. Feel good about where your money goes when you shop Co-op. Visit in store for details.
Do you have tickets to an upcoming event at Rogers Place that you can't attend? Donate your tickets to the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation Seats for Kids program, presented by Eagle Builders. Seats for Kids provides unused game tickets for charities, allowing children and families to enjoy hockey at Rogers Place. And for many, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be a part of the Seats for Kids program presented by Eagle Builders, please email edmonton@kidsupfront.com. That's edmonton@kidsupfront.com.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Florida 4, Edmonton 1. Well, we gave the Edmonton Oilers a lot of credit for getting up off the deck on Thursday night, Bob. And tonight, what we've seen through basically 54 minutes is that momentum indeed has not carried over one iota. And the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, Bob, a worthy champion.
Right now, they look like they're the better team.
Verhaeghe shovels it down low. Remember, Edmonton's wins in this series have come in games in which they've trailed and eventually won in overtime. This would be Florida's second win in regulation in this series.
Yeah.
And the other game, they were 18 seconds away from closing that game out in regulation before Perry tied it. Walman up to Perry, on to Connor McDavid. Here comes Edmonton's last push, and McDavid bounced it off the end boards. That fooled Bobrovsky, came back between the wickets. But it's been Florida's night, and now Pickard will leave for an extra attacker. With 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go, a Florida clear leads to a Bouchard reset, and McDavid fires it in deep. Down 3, Edmonton's not wasting any time. The extra attacker is on. A strip. A quick shot off the post. Hitting the post was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Slashed it back to Bouchard. Across to Ekholm. And now mishandled for a moment by McDavid. Sealed against the boards by Jones. Nugent-Hopkins won a battle to force it out to Bouchard. Ekholm in the high slot. Gets it back from Bouchard. Now it's McDavid. Cross ice deflected. Luostarinen has an empty net. Moves it, then gets it back at center. On to Marchand. A backhander toward the empty net. That sailed wide. Grabbed by Bouchard and a reset for Ekholm with 4 minutes to go. Edmonton has to change. Draisaitl stays out there with the tireless McDavid and fires it toward McDavid. But it's bumped off his stick. Somehow he finishes his check on Ekblad and allows Draisaitl second life. Bouchard across to Brett Kulak, and now McDavid centers off the pads of Bobrovsky, loose and nudged wide with 3:40 remaining. The Panthers can't get it clear. McDavid won another battle. Draisaitl guides it back. Bouchard shot booted away by Barkov. Heck of a block, forcing Edmonton to tag back onside, and Brown is offside with 3.5 to go in the third. And now, with a neutral zone faceoff, let's see if Pickard returns to the pipes. It looks as though he will, but first we have to take a timeout. 3 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida seemingly in control, but getting a friendly post as Nugent Hopkins draws iron. It's 4-1 Panthers, and this is Four Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Get paid to stay with Edmonton's best hotels. Book through edmontonsbesthotels.com and receive up to $225 in gas, meal, or cash cards. There's over 52 hotels to choose from. Edmonton's best hotels. Get paid to stay.
Our people, our team. It's what business owners almost always say is their most important resource. But strong businesses don't just find great people. They make sure their teams stay healthy, engaged, and performing at their best. A benefits plan from Alberta Blue Cross is more than just drug and dental. They support the whole person with flexible coverage levels that fit the size and circumstance of your business. Find a plan that gets results at ab.bluecross.ca.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins. Multiply your prizes up to 6 times and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash. Trigger the jackpot. Launch the free spins bonus and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Get paid to stay with Edmonton's best hotels. Book through edmontonsbesthotels.com and receive up to $225 in gas, meal, or cash cards. There's over 52 hotels to choose from. Edmonton's best hotels. Get paid to stay.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Pickard for now between the hash marks, a face-off at center. Barkov will take it against Draisaitl, whose stick snaps in half. Draisaitl out there with McDavid and Nugent Hopkins, Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard. That's the Edmonton 5. 3.5 to go. Florida 4, Edmonton 1 here in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Panthers took a 2-0 lead after one, made it 3-0 early in the third. McDavid gave the Oilers some life 2 minutes after Marchand's second of the night with his first goal of the series. But 46 seconds later, Sam Reinhart came right back with a goal for Florida. And now all of a sudden, Reinhart has scored in 3 straight games in this series. Off the draw, McDavid busting down the right-hand side. On his backhand, no shot. Fires a dart to Draisaitl, who mishandles for a moment. Nurse to the corner. Corey Perry, the extra attacker on. Draisaitl tried to center. That deflected up top. A drop score! Corey Perry! The Stanley Cup playoffs and his 9th career goal in a Stanley Cup final. Only Draisaitl and Bennett have more goals than Corey Perry in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Bobrovsky, I think, was screened by his own man. Time 16:47. And the Oilers have life. Nothing comes easy in this series. Certainly not if you're Florida, who've already seen 3 and 2 goal leads disappear. 6-on-5 goal for Edmonton. Can the Oilers find 2 more? Nurse up the left-hand side for Draisaitl. Less than 3 minutes to go. He hits Connor McDavid, churning his legs. Drops it off. Stolen and cleared back the other way. Settled by center, and that was ruled to have been play with a high stick by Darnell Nurse. Now Draisaitl and Nurse, by the way, with the assists on the Perry goal. So with 2:48 to go in a neutral zone faceoff, not only is the play whistled down, but Pickard's got to go back in. Draisaitl, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Wollman, and Bouchard. 2:48 to go. Florida controls and then shoots it in from center. Gustav Forsling looking to drain some clock. Wollman hemmed in by Reinhart and Sam Bennett. Forced free to Leon Draisaitl. Snaps a pass ahead for Nugent-Hopkins. Poke checked away by Forsling, and it's another regroup for Bouchard. Still 5-on-5. Now Pickard heads for the bench. Draisaitl dashes down the right-hand side. A backhander short-sided to save Bobrovsky. Florida failed to control the rebound, so it's McDavid. On to Bouchard. Wallman put it off the end boards. Perry behind the net. Sets it up for Draisaitl. Barkov challenges. Shot saved. Bobrovsky rebound chipped just wide of the net by Perry. What a smart play. Bouchard could not hold the zone. I mean, Perry with such soft hands around the net. What a heady play. Didn't pay off. Wallman shovels it in. Bobrovsky will reverse over to Aaron Ekblad. He's got a chance to clear and wedges it softly back to center. Minute 50 to go. It's still 4-2 Florida. Draisaitl to McDavid. Swatted off his stick. Luostarinen flicks the backhander up ice. Too much on it. This will be icing against Florida with a minute 39 to go in the third period. The Oilers, they may have no other option to take a timeout themselves here, even though that would give Florida a breather. They could roll over fresh players, and that's what they're showing here, but my gut tells me we're still going to see a timeout here. I don't think Edmonton's going to keep this play moving. Right now, they've got Skinner, Kane in the vicinity, and it is indeed timeout Edmonton. Florida, of course, can't take a timeout, having iced the puck. But with a minute 39 to go in the third, the Oilers will, and quite frankly, I don't blame them, Bob. Yeah. That's probably the direction you have to go. So now, obviously, it starts with a face-off win, but you're still in the game. You're still taxing Florida's top players, and you're still letting the defending champions know nothing's going to come easy in this series. Florida's had trouble closing Edmonton out, and that hasn't been the case against any of its prior playoff opponents.
It'd be a miracle if Edmonton could find a way to get two here. The problem is, this is the best defensive team in the playoffs. Got to get an ozone face-off win on the draw.
Having said that, the Oilers have tied the Panthers already in this series. They tied LA extremely late. So it's not over. 6-on-5. Draisaitl will take the draw. McDavid between the hash marks. On the half wall, Nugent-Hopkins and Perry up top. Wallman and Bouchard, the big blast from the point. Barkov won the face-off. I think we're going to drop this again. And this has been a continual theme whenever Leon Draisaitl's been involved in a face-off all season long, Bob.
Yeah.
From regular season game 1 to now. Here we go. To Bobrovsky's right. Barkov and Draisaitl. And off the draw, it's loose. Loading up, dishing off. Bouchard, a shot, a save. Bobrovsky. Rebound eludes Draisaitl. Ekholm will keep it down low. McDavid could not bat it down. Luostarinen didn't get it clear. Forsling gave it away. Nugent-Hopkins shot. Draisaitl. Lunging save. Bobrovsky. Rebound. Panthers fire it down the ice. Bullseye. Empty netter. And that will put Edmonton away and leave Florida just one win shy of a back-to-back Stanley Cup situation. Etu Luostarinen puts it away with an empty netter from about 170 feet. 5-2.
Unfortunately, too little, too late for the Oilers. Put themselves in a tough spot. Heck of a push here, but
Lundell with an assist. Marchand a pair of goals. Luostarinen a goal and an assist.
That line, Jack.
18:41 time of the empty netter for Luostarinen. It'll be an unassisted empty netter, and now we'll play out the final minute 15. Frederick walks in with his team down 5-2. Over to Janmark. Looking for the wraparound. Not there. Out to Troy Stetcher. But Colson. Left side. Kulak a slap shot to save Bobrovsky with 56 seconds to play in the third period. It's 21 shots for Edmonton in this game. 10 in the third period. But I think you just said it. Too little, too late.
Yeah.
Ultimately, to allow Bobrovsky to settle in facing just 11 shots in the first 40 minutes, not ultimately a recipe that you can count on. Janmark face off against Evan Rodriguez. And the Florida Panthers are 1 win away from a second consecutive Stanley Cup, which would, of course, match the feat by Tampa in 20 and 21 when they beat Dallas and Montreal to win back-to-back Stanley Cups before losing their third appearance in the final in 6 games to Colorado.
And that was an unreal Colorado team. The deepest team that's won in the last 5 or 6 years, maybe till this team.
Florida's Nico Mikkola up to center ice off the draw. Rodriguez will calmly just dump it in. Stetcher back together, final 30 seconds. Oilers will be playing for their playoff lives for the first time in this postseason. Tuesday night, we'll have it for you, 6:20 Mountain Time, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Bob will join me live at Amerant Bank Arena. Final 15 seconds. One more dump in by Florida. Kulak will skate out the remaining time. Some pushing and shoving at center. And ultimately, not much is going to develop out of this one. Actually, there is a whistle with 5 seconds to go.
Janmarks. They're just telling them to run the clock.
Yeah, Wes McCauley just said run it, and they run it down to 0. Even though the puck was not officially in play, more pushing and shoving, but ultimately the Panthers will retire to their dressing room, and they'll get on the 5-hour flight back to Sunrise tomorrow, knowing that they're 60 minutes away from closing out Edmonton again and winning a second consecutive Stanley Cup. Meanwhile, the Oilers, well, they must do what Toronto did in the second round, and that's win on the road to force a Game 7 back at home. That's the carrot for the Oilers. It's about winning one game and creating a Game 7 opportunity on home ice next Friday night. But in order to do that, they're going to have to play their best game of the year Tuesday, when you and I have the call at 6:20 Mountain.
Second and third power plays of the game. They had nothing going in their first power play in the first period, but their second and third power plays, they couldn't get a ricochet or a deflection, and Bobrovsky ended up fighting it off. And Brad Marchand was fantastic in tonight's game. You got to tip your hat to him. But this was a game that Florida grabbed a stranglehold and never let go. They just suffocated the life right out of the Oilers.
The key was Reinhart. That's a big goal by Sam Reinhart. Less than a minute after the McDavid goal, this building was abuzz and perhaps sensing another improbable comeback.
Yeah, but the Oilers, I mean, they've just been destroyed in the first. It's funny, they were destroyed at home in the second period in Game 1 and Game 2, but since then, it's been all Florida in the first period, Jack.
Well, Draisaitl got the first goal of the series. Remember, to open the Stanley Cup Final, he scored 66 seconds in. And since then, Florida's gotten the first goal 4 straight times. And ultimately, if you look at this series, you know, Florida...
They've scored 2 goals in every game in the first period.
7-0 the last 3 games in the first period. Now, they've gotten a win in that mix, so that's huge to keep the series alive, but they're going to have to play a much better first period, start on time Tuesday night.
You know, to me it looked like the Oilers lacked energy, and
why do you think that is?
Well, they skated a lot down in Florida, and we had this. Do
you think they skated more? I mean, I saw the Panthers on the ice just the amount of time. I'm not going to say.
Well, I think Florida's got more depth without, you know. The Oilers are top-heavy with McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman. Then they mix and match. I will tell you right now, I'm making 2 changes right here, right now for game number 6.
Stuart Skinner's going to start Game 6.
That's a given. Skinner's going to start.
And that's no knock on Pickard. It's just a fact. When you look at, ultimately, with your season on the line, you probably got to go to your number 1 guy.
And I think the Oilers, the one thing we've seen with Kasperi Kapanen, is when he comes out of the lineup, he's better when he goes back in. He doesn't
a lot of speed and loves to hit.
And they need speed right now. I would have Kapanen in the lineup for, Kapanen in for Arvidsson. But the Oilers, it goes without saying. It's do or die. You got to play your best game. And again, tonight was Florida's night. They were simply just better.
What about Klingberg? Is he an option in terms of transitioning the puck to the forwards, or do you think Florida's too heavy for that matchup to be a favorable one if you're Edmonton?
Yeah.
What's your take on that? That's the other guy who's played in the final.
Yeah. Let me think about that one. My gut feel is just stick with Stetcher. That's my gut feel. I mean, Klingberg was on the ice for 5 of the 8 even strength goals in the first 3 games of the series. But I mean, we've had 3 close games. The Oilers have won 2 of them in overtime. Florida won 1 in overtime. But the other 2 games, Florida's been the better team. And the Oilers and they're playing, hey, let's establish something here. They're playing it's not like Edmonton.
Edmonton's playing a great champion. Edmonton is a 2-time Western Conference champion. They've won the Western Conference
with 2 entirely different teams.
Correct. One great on special teams, one great 5-on-5.
One great on special teams with a lot of speed throughout the lineup. They don't have the same speed because of some decisions that were made in the offseason, then a couple things that ended up happening. But they did add some character and some experience to it.
And a little speed with Kapanen. He gave them some of that speed back.
And Marcus Lato, his agent, was in Florida talking with Stan Bowman. I can tell you that. I don't know where those discussions went. But at the end of the day here, Florida back to their top 9. Jack, I'm going to have to look it up. Maybe you can ask your stats guru from the league when the last time 9 forwards had more than 15 points in the playoffs. Because there's no way the Oilers of the 1980s, as good as they were, with some of the highest scoring teams, the highest scoring team in playoff history back in 1985. There's no way they had 9 forwards of 15 plus points.
And we talk about this Edmonton club being the deepest of the McDavid era, and I believe it is.
I believe it'll be even deeper next year. But the problem is we got to get.
The Oilers have 4 with 15 points, just to illustrate your point.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day here, Edmonton. Tonight, it was Florida's night. The extra day, I think, helps the Edmonton Oilers right now. I really do. I think it helps the Oilers. I think their top-end guys look gassed, Jack. They played, I do, and you know what? You could even see it a bit in the reaction in overtime with Leon Draisaitl after he scored. He kind of, and it was a quick back-to-back. Florida's playing more guys, more minutes, distributing the minutes a little bit, that sort of 15 to 18 role. The Oilers are loading up 2 forwards, 20-plus minutes, and it's going to be a challenge here for the Oilers come on Tuesday night. Now, that said, all bets are off if you can get it back here for game number 7.
And the other thing is, and I think it must be stated, this is less about what Edmonton's not doing and more about the quality of opposition
100%.
at the other end of the ice.
They're good.
These 2 teams are very, very good teams, unquestionably the best in each conference. The problem with that is it means to win a Stanley Cup, your opposition is as good as you're going to ever see in your career. The Oilers, Connor McDavid could play the rest of his career and not see a tougher team in the final than what he's looking at across the ice from him in each of the last 2 Stanley Cup finals. Florida, a 5-2 victory tonight. Sergei Bobrovsky, the win. He ties a league record with his 10th victory on the road. He's 15-7 overall in the postseason.
Remember, they're only 5-4 at home, Jack.
Correct. And by the way, by the same token, look at the Edmonton Oilers on the road in this postseason. They're 7-4. I mean, they can play on the road. So again, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But you've got an Oiler club with a better road record than Florida's home record. Bottom line is, tonight was Florida's game. Bobrovsky the win. As Bob talked about it, the shot clock kind of told the story. Bobrovsky was able to settle in, stopped all 11 shots he faced in the first 2 periods.
We thought they needed to get to 30 shots at the end of the first.
And they got to 21.
And they got to 21. That's a tough way to win.
19 saves for Bobrovsky. Calvin Pickard charged with a loss, his first in this postseason and just the second in 13 appearances he's made over the course of his Stanley Cup playoff career. Pickard will be charged with the defeat as he stopped 14 of 18. We expect Stuart Skinner to return to the pipes when Edmonton's season will be on the line in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. We'll have it for you again, 6:20 Mountain Time. For Paul Maurice, it's his 85th career playoff victory. And for Chris Knobloch, it's only the 3rd time in the back end of a series from Game 4 on, 3rd time in 22 games that he's tasted defeat, and 2 of those losses, you guessed it, the Florida Panthers, who've now outscored their opposition 61-31 away from home in compiling a 10-3 record. And from a Panther standpoint, they hope that was the last road game they've played this season. Game 6, Panthers 60 minutes away from a Stanley Cup. Oilers will be 60 minutes away from a Game 7 of the final at home back here on Friday night. Bob and I will talk to you Tuesday live from Sunrise, 6:20 Mountain Time puck drop. Until then, for Bob Stauffer, Bryn Griffiths, and Rob Brown, this is Jack Michaels saying good night from Rogers Place. Your final score in Game 5, Florida 5, Edmonton 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the pleasure was all ours. The Rogers postgame show starts